Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gents, wherever you are. We're here back again with CRL Pretty Race Build-Up. I'm here with my good buddy Drip. And today, we have a treat for you. We have the Monaco Grand Prix for Division 1. You know, it's what we call the big one, the one everybody wants to win. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty tight between the Division 1 drivers. We know they have very good pace. We know they like to push the limits, and we know that they like to stay on track. So, pretty briefly, pretty quickly, we're gonna show you a layout around the Monaco circuit. There's 19 corners in total. The track length is 3.3 kilometers with an average speed of 120 kilometers per hour. Sorry, 160 kilometers per hour. It's not a high-speed track. You know, you gotta be very careful with not tapping the wall, not getting a puncture or a wing change, and yeah. So, what do you think, Drip? What are your predictions for the D1 Monaco?
Well, start off with a good morning. It's nice to be back doing this again. Last week was fun. It's good to see the reception was nice. This new bit of content, but with Monaco this week, it's up in the air. Kind of looks like Japan from last week, where as we're getting up our skill set of drivers, we're seeing a little more DNFs, a little bit more careless, not so careful driving. So honestly, who knows where Div 1 can go? It's the big one for this weekend is the full qualifying. I think full 3 sessions to try and work your pace up, fight through track evolution, potentially changing weather. Might be a little bit more than just staying on the wall.
Are completely right about that. So yeah, you just hit a pretty good point right now, which I think is qualifying. We are having a full quali, as you say. So I want to talk about a bit, you know, the importance of tires in here. So you know, usually we know that tires are good for 2 push laps in a row, or you know, in between. But do you think drivers are gonna go for the medium tire in Q1 or in Q2, more specifically? Like, do you think they're gonna take the risk in D1 to go for the medium start?
I could see a few drivers in Division 1 going for a medium attempt in the second qualifying session.
Okay.
I don't really see a point behind scrubbing up those medium tires in the first qualifying session. That's just kind of a stay away from the bottom 5 and let's move forwards. But in terms of setting yourself up for a nice race start, if you don't think maybe you can get yourself up towards the top half of that top 10, but you can get to Q3, might be optimal to start on those medium tires.
Understood. Yeah, that's a very good input. Yeah. So what I was thinking is, you know, mediums are awesome tire. You know, they can go a great amount of distance, especially in Monaco. I feel that, you know, softs have much higher tire deck. So, you know, I was thinking maybe, you know, the problem with the mediums is gonna be, you know, getting them up to temp in the first couple of laps. You know, we know that the medium suffers a bit more from temp issues. So they also, the drivers who go for the mediums might have 1 or 2 laps to, you know, to get them up to temperature, which might leave them vulnerable to, you know, a little mistake here and there, especially, you know, in Sandivot, Casino, and, you know, tunnel exit, where, you know, where we know grip is key in order to keep the car on the
premium
on the black stuff. Yeah, exactly. So it's something we need to take into account. Now I want to circle back to what you mentioned about tire and pit stops. Do you think we are gonna see a couple of undercuts, overcuts? Like, what do you think the pit strategy around Monaco is gonna be for these D1 drivers?
I think that's going to depend a lot on position. We're probably going to see, as long as we don't see what happened with Division 2 last night, where we've got a DNF every couple laps, I think we can see a wide variety of overcuts and undercuts. because there's not a lot of room on this track to make overtakes. There's one, maybe two spots, one of them being that tunnel exit where, as we said, grip is at a premium. So you've got to make sure you have the tire temperature, the brake temperature, and the grip in your tires to get through there. Not to mention, don't hook yourself on that wall.
You are completely right about that. So yeah, couple of overcuts, undercuts is something we really need to look out for, especially because these D1 drivers are really good at tire management. Like perhaps couple of laps before the pit window, they put in a monstrous in lap, and
Yeah,
they might get couple positions. So yeah, that's something to look out for. Now, I want to talk a bit about ERS deployment for a bit trip. We know Monaco, it's pretty easy to deplete your battery within 2-3 laps pushing. But then again, energy harvesting is also not that hard according to me. You can go for 3-4 charge laps and already have 80% ERS. So what do you think it's the optimal? To like drain the battery every 2-3 laps and then build it back up, or have a healthy balance between deploying and harvesting. So keep your battery at 60-50%. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's gonna depend a lot on what you mentioned before, the whole tire management game. Depending on where these drivers are on track, how far they are from staying within the 1 DRS zone range that we do have going across the start finish line. Um, I could see a lot of drivers opting to keep their ERS a little bit higher this race. Not per se being overly conservative, but I feel like we're going to see not too many drivers dip below the 60% mark for too long.
Yeah, understood. I think like you said, you raise a really good point because if the chasing car gets a really good exit out of 17, 18, and 19, into the main DRS straight, and the car in front has low ERS, we might see a move in the very short straight that is, the main straight of Monaco into Saint Devote. But yeah, ERS management is gonna be key for these D1 drivers in order to keep it to keep track position, because like you said, track position is crucial, is monumental, is paramount here in Monaco. So if drivers can manage to keep their position, I think um, they will be in for a good result. Now, circling back again to the track layout, as you say, as I said before, keeping the car on the black stuff is key. So, how much risk do you think the drivers are willing to take around Monaco, especially during quali? Do you think we're gonna see drivers kissing the barrier, or are we gonna see them be a bit more on the safe side? What do you reckon?
I feel that we're going to see a very safe first few laps. Our drivers are very good at not getting themselves caught up in that early end traffic. But once they start to get a little bit spaced out and it's more of a train following each other, I can see limits being pushed. We're gonna see we're gonna see a little bit of maybe not some wall scraping, but some ooh that's close. Ooh that's close. Ooh, how didn't he hit that wall?
You're right. I'm looking forward to it, to be
It's a,
honest. These drivers,
it's a
oof.
very fine margin, if uh if I do say so myself.
Uh, you're right. You're completely right. I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to it. Now, speaking of constructor standings, it's very interesting because we got Red Bull, AlphaTauri, and Mercedes all within 1 point apart difference. So you know,
And Alpine's only 3 back of Mercedes.
and Duncan's only 3 back on Mercedes. So
It's tight all the way through that mid pack of the field.
it's gonna, yeah, as you say, it's super tight. Yeah, now that I'm looking. So you know, do you think we are gonna see some mind games coming into the race? People sandbagging during quali. Bit here and there of engineers engineers trying to get the best track position, trying to get the least amount of dirty air. So I don't know, like, what do you think the mentality of the of the team principals is going into this race, knowing that the midfield is so tight and constructors are also very tight. Not just the top three, but also Alpine, Ferrari. There's a couple of points there between Aston Martin and Alfa. So and even between Williams and Haas, there's 1 point that separates them. So I don't know what do you think the mentality of the team principals is going into this D1 Monaco race?
I think it's going to be worry about anybody who's not near you in the constructor standings, but track position, track position, track position. Go back to the whole, there's not much room to overtake here. I think we will see some mind games, not per se people coming up on you in the DRS zone and going side by side, making the overtake into the corner, but it's going to be placing their car to make that car in front think that they're going for the overtake, so that they change their line, and now you can get a better exit and come up on them down the short little straight that follows. It could be a lot of little battles, unforced errors, things like that this weekend.
It's gonna be interesting, yeah. Like you say, the pressure is on. The drivers are gonna have to perform at their max. So no, now I want to make a little bit of a prediction. Now, who do you think is gonna come out victorious here? The Red Bulls, the Mercedes power units, or maybe the Alpines coming in clutch? What do you think?
That's a tough one, man. We've got a lot of fast one-lap drivers here, and one-lap pace is extremely key here in Monaco. Keeping your space away from those cars so that they can't play those mind games with you.
I completely agree.
It's hard to put my finger on who I'd give the number one to.
Okay. So yeah,
Who would you give yours to? I need a couple more moments to think about this
no
one.
problem. Yeah, we got a tough one here. Like, I don't know. I think if Ian can put like one banker of a lap, it's gonna be really hard for people to beat the pole. But on the other hand, I've been practicing a lot with with Racer Senna from McLaren D1. We can't underestimate him. I mean, he's got the pace. He feels really comfortable around Monaco, and I think he was sandbagging a little bit during practice. I mean, he put in 109s, mid 109s, but I think if he really wants to, he can bring it down to high 108s, low 19s. So yeah, Racer Senna, I think, one to watch out for the Monaco Grand Prix.
I can definitely agree with you there. I think he was per se doing it to be a little bit suspicious, but I do know Razor does like his Monaco. He is extremely comfortable with this track, and I feel like when he wants to turn it on, he can pull out a lap that it'll rival some of the fastest guys in the league. But to be honest, I'm gonna have to give it to Ian. I'm gonna hope that Alpine has a comeback week this week. They're looking at their standings, and they've got a lot of ground they can make up from a good performance this weekend. We've got a lot of drivers missing again, with over at Ferrari, Joel at AlphaTauri, and Tom at McLaren, all confirmed to not be showing up this weekend. We've got some good points, and Ian knows how to turn it on as well, so I think Alpine might come out to show this weekend.
I mean, they're like, kind of have to, after their performance on D2 last night, that people were really hoping for an Alpine masterclass, but unfortunately,
Master last.
Yeah, Ethan had he didn't have the best race, but it happens. It's one race, and Johannes, unfortunately, he wasn't able. But yeah, I think, like you say, Alpine, Adam, he might be looking to come back, to slam his hand on the table and say, here we are, we're still in the fight. So it's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be super tight. I'm guessing, like you said, quali is gonna be tenths of a second between P1 and P8 maybe, and Something we haven't really discussed now is which I haven't asked you is what do you think about possible safety cars? You know, because like you said before, it's a fine margin between pushing yourself to the limit and staying on the track with your front wing intact. So safety cars, you know, what chance do you think of seeing one during the D1 race is, or even a VSC? What are your thoughts on that aspect?
I'm hoping that whatever race director Codemasters has put into this F1 game decides to look back across the last two races we've had and say, maybe I should at least give you guys a VSC or safety car, because we've seen a few cars that have DNF'd right in the middle of the track and they may not even be ghosted. So it's going to be hard to plan for that, because you'd think there would be multiple safety cars, but it just doesn't want to give them to us. So I think there may still be a few drivers that plan on having at least one VSC, but I don't think anyone will plan on a full safety car.
All right. So, according to me, I think we might see, a couple of drivers under fueling a bit, maybe 1 lap, 0.6 laps, hoping, to get that VSC, and by underfilling, obviously you're faster. But what do you think the risks are? You're pushing, no safety car, no VSC, and suddenly you are 5 laps towards the end, and you have your fuel light on with maybe even a lap less of fuel. I think it might be tricky, trying to underfuel, because then going going to the last lap with low fuel mode is definitely something drivers will not be looking forward to. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts about fuel strategy? Are we gonna see underfueling, or do you think most drivers are just gonna play it safely and just fuel point 0.2, point 0.3 above target just to be safe? What are your thoughts on that?
I think we'll still see some underfueling with the amount of elevation change here at Monaco. It's relatively easy to do a lot of lift and coast. You will pull time out of your lap, but you are going to save quite a bit of fuel, especially through the back half of the track going down the hill. So I can still see some guys going maybe half a lap, under fuel, maybe even 2 if they're banking on safety cars, 3. My personal decision for the race was I went with about 0.2, 0.3 over, like you were suggesting. Just, we know how this game will react. Safe.
You're right. Yeah, we never know. It's a lottery, more or less, to see the safety cars. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be an exciting race. It's gonna be a very 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 tight pack. Hopefully, they all keep it clean. And yeah, so the pressure is on. The pressure is on for the driver.
All right, folks, good evening and welcome. It is Sunday night. It is time to go racing in Monaco with Division 1 of the Zoom Racing League. Sorry to cut that race just a little bit short here, but we don't want you guys to miss anything of qualifying. Drivers are already out on track, and they are going through a full qualifying. It's going to be 3 rounds, Q3, Q2, Q1, here at Monaco. 19 turns, a little over 2 miles. 11 of those turns are to the right, 8 are to the left. Only one DRS zone on the main straight that leads down to the famous Saint Devote. Tonight, like we said, is full qualifying. We're going to have 3 rounds here. So in Q1, we are going to lose the 5 slowest drivers on the grid. Q2, we'll have the 15 drivers battling it out to see who can make it through to Q1. And in Q2, the top 10 drivers that advance on through are going to have to start the race on those tires. We don't normally do full qualifying here. We've been able to do it all weekend. It's been a pretty good time so far throughout our divisions, and we're hoping that as I'm here with my buddy Big Mama Frank, we're gonna see some really quick times. We're going to see, I'm trying to find somebody who's actually on an out lap. We're looking at John Ranger right now, who's already started a time lap in the Alfa Romeo. But Big Mama Frank, no safety cars all weekend. A lot of good qualifying sessions from these guys. And I think here in Division 1, we're going to see even more of the same good, clean, fast racing.
Well, clean may not be the best word I would describe this weekend so far, but hopefully this race will be a little bit cleaner as Duncan goes over the line for his first lap.
All right, Duncan McCamick's swift already with a 109.9, so we're already in the sub 110s. John Ranger has a moment, kind of loses it right before the tunnel. The tunnel's another place that's kind of tricky. You can lose it to the entry of the tunnel or this little kink just before you come to the end of the tunnel. So this is the kind of track where any moment you can lose all of it, and but if you can nail it and keep it together, you can gain a lot of time through some of these turns.
Yeah, it's so hard. But just you have to move the car in one direction or in perpendicular directions so quickly, and then have to get so quickly back on the traction, and then you have to stop so quickly. It's so easy just to make such an easy, like a little mistake that just costs you so much time, or even just a little bit of damage, which just ruins your entire lap altogether. This track is just pain, it's just complete pain mentally and physically. And I know a lot of people, particularly in this division, really enjoyed the track, but for myself, I absolutely despise it.
Completely understandable. Sorry for the little delays here, folks. For those of you that are in our Discord and already know, I had a little incident where my monitors decided to fight each other and topple over off my desk. And so I've got a completely different setup for this broadcast. So trying to keep it all together and keep it clean for you guys, as it looks like we've got a yellow flag. Nobody off the track yet. So our top 10 so far, Duncan McCamick with a 109.9 as Beamer runs into the wall. Razor Senna up there already into P3 with a 110 flat. Travis Robinson, Jack Fletcher, and the Red Bulls behind. So top 5 right now is all Red Bull power, and then Ian in the Alpine and Razor in the Mercedes-powered McLaren. Boberto is trying to get in. You'll notice we only have 19 cars on track. We do have 6. I believe Boberto will either make it 6 or 7 reserves in tonight. And so it'll be very interesting. It's been a long time since Division 1 has had that many reserves. And so we'll see how that affects the grid. So Victor Diaz puts in a 111.1 to go P8. Lee Hall in P9 with a 111. So a couple of podium finishers not here this week. Bronson Stafford is not in. Sleek filling in for him. Sleek on screen is Jordan Angus down in P15. Actually was on the podium last night for Division 2. Sleek is back. Sleek's back on form. Learned a lot in that race, and is going to probably be able to keep up with the D1 guys here. Sleek, of course, last season was in Division 1, and through our sorting table was demoted back down to Division 2 where he started. So we know we can keep pace with these guys, and it'll be just a matter of putting the lap together.
Yeah, Sleek definitely has a face to be competitive here. I'm actually surprised by Victor's time doing 11.1, even though he broke his wing going into the swimming pool section. So he definitely is capable of a lot faster lap than that.
So Razor goes P1. Razor, the street circuit specialist. Of course, he's fast everywhere. 109.6. That's a really spicy time to get things started. We'll see these guys start to get closer and closer to that 109 flat. May even see somebody like an Ian Kreger peak into the 108s at the end of Q3. But again, you got to keep it all together for the entire lap. And like we've said a couple times already, it takes one little bump off a tiny little curve, and that's it. You're parked and you're headed to the swimming pool.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly expect I expect several of our guys to probably hit one in the 108s in Q3. There's so many time trial sweats in this division. So I'm excited to see what kind of times they can put up at the end of this.
Jason Pelter on a really good lap here. He's going to run about a 110. Yeah, 110.2 does improve, moves all the way up to P5. His partner, everyone's favorite Haas driver. Oh no, everyone's favorite Division 3 driver and Division 2 broadcaster OG just invalidates. He's filling in the Haas tonight. Usually you find him in a Red Bull powered machine. As it looks like Travis Robinson has just set another lap. Or he just set another lap. Didn't improve, stayed P4, but still a really good time on the board for him already. Let's jump on board. Bob's in the pits. So that's going to be Jordan Angus coming out to begin his flying lap. So the Canadian driver, like we said, really good showing last night in Division 2. We know he has Division 1 pace, and he's got free track ahead of him and just invalidates into Sandoval. Turn 1 has taken Jordan Angus out of qualifying for the time being, but he's got 10 minutes to get it sorted.
You know, one thing I'm not sure if I'm aware of, but all the divisions had an opportunity to vote on whether they wanted to race in just dry conditions or they just wanted to let the game decide the weather with dynamic. How did the vote actually go for Div 1? I didn't actually see that.
Div 1, I think the vote was actually for a dry session. We have had a wet session before at Monaco, and it's not pleasant. So I think everybody decided to insulate themselves. This season, compared to the previous 2 seasons, we've had way more wet weather races than we have in the past. So I don't know what they changed. As Travis Robinson goes 109.5, so fully 1/10 faster than Razor Senna, and over 3/10 faster than Duncan McCamick. But I don't know what Codemasters did with the weather variability, but it has definitely changed over the last few months, or since the game has come out. In the last few months, it's changed. It seems like we get rain way more often.
That may be real. But Travis Robinson put that lap up on 5-lap-old soft tires. So that has a pretty common thing we see, particularly in the first session or 2 of full qualifying on this track. Is people just go out, we'll put maybe 6 or 7 laps of fuel, and then just put laps in until they feel comfortable to start pushing.
So, and that is the rule in qualifying in real life, and I assume it works the same way in the game. You can go out and destroy a pair of softs because the pair that you use the most in qualifying gets taken out of circulation in the real racing. I'm sure it's the same in the game, and so that you're going to throw this set away anyway. So just go rubber the track in if you feel like you're pretty confident about being in the top 10 or top 15 and moving through.
Yeah, no doubt. And while we were talking, Roberto looks like he crashed. Oh no, he was forced to retire since he joined late.
Right, so luckily Codemasters has broken everything they can for us, and any driver that does join late, we ask them to retire the car in the pits and not actually drive out, because it'll become a timing and sync error, and so he will have the full qualifying time even though all of the other cars on track have finished, and so we got to sit there and watch him turn laps, and so it's a weird desync issue, but the less we can have issues like that. Is Jordan Angus is flying right now. Jordan Angus actually putting in a really tight time here, has not invalidated as he comes around through Razcas. And he's got a little traffic in front of him. Hopefully that Alfa Romeo scoots on out of the way. So Jordan Angus sitting P last right now is going to come across the line with about a 1:01.4, 1:11.1. Okay, not a great time, but at least he's got a time on the board. And right now he would be through into Q2.
Yeah, that's probably right around the time, the cutoff point that we're expecting for this session. We'll probably see everyone below him go out for at least one more stint, just secure their place in the qualifying. And as I say, there goes Victor Diaz with the 10.5.
Let's kind of watching back in the tunnel section. We've already got some traffic starting to back up on each other, and you know as well as the rest of these drivers do, it does not take much for things to get backed up really badly. And so luckily that traffic is cleared, but you gotta really work together here if you want to keep turning laps and don't wind up blocking each other. So Lee Hall sitting in P3 right now with a 1:09.7 and validates his second push lap. ERS is still draining, so hopefully he's aware of that and he can jump into the pits real quick. But P3 for Lee Hall, it's really good for him, and hopefully that holds. Looks like maybe Josh Barnsley, John Ranger will be setting a time here, 1:10.6. So French Canadian driver goes P12 in the Alfa Romeo, keeps him clean. So right now, our bottom 5, Alberto will not take part in Q2. So Beamer, Michael Scott, Joel Guron, Jordan Angus, and Josh Barnsley, who's showing up as Keisler on your screen. No, Josh right now is the driver at risk. And so anybody sets a faster time than him, he gets pushed out of Q3. Josh Barnsley, team boss for Ferrari, also drives in the Alfa Romeo in Division 2 with his best buddy of all time, Brian Hackman. So again, Josh has had some experience with the race here already, had a decent finish last night after a couple of rough patches, and looking to do something in that Alfa Romeo here in Division 1.
Yeah, I think at this point we're probably going to have to see everyone from OG down will have to go out for another stint to try to secure their place in here. I think everyone here that's remaining is very capable of beating that cutoff point time we have right now of 11 flat. So they need to secure their place if they want to make it through the next qualifying session.
I just saw Jack.
Now, one thing that... Go ahead. One thing to note is that... One thing to note is that the superior tire strategy for this track is easily soft, starting on the soft tires, then finishing on either the hard or the mediums. So the idea of potentially getting to Q2 and then purposefully not going to Q3 so you can start on fresh tires and maybe do something all like mediums or hards will cost you towards the end of the race, because when when you go long on these other tires, you just basically just give up track position at the end of the race, and then you have to try to make it up on the softs. And this track is just absolutely not one of those tracks you can do that on.
So while we were chatting there, Jack Pemberton went much faster, went up to P6, and then Jack Fletcher immediately took that. So battle of the Jacks within the top 10. And so right now it is Travis Robinson sitting on in P1 to go into Q2 with a little over 4 minutes left. So enough time for the drivers to come out and do about 3 laps if they really want to. You're going to have your out lap, which is going to be a little over a minute, and then about a minute 10 each, and then you're going to have an in lap. So kind of watching the clock here if you're one of those guys that wants to try to sneak up out of that bottom 4. So right now it's down to Jordan, Joel, Michael, and Beamer. Who's going to be the one that pushes a Josh Barnsley or a Damien down into the relegation zone?
We have Beamer giving it his best shot now, going through the tunnel now. He is right now our last place qualifying runner.
Nice and clean through the Nouvelle chicane for Beamer. Beamer's another one that just is newer to the league. He's been around just a couple of months, and he's gone really quick there. 2/10 up on his time as he enters into section 3 through the swimming pool to a Rascass. And being up 2/10 is not going to be quite enough for him. He's going to need to go a lot faster than that. This is probably only going to put him around P17. So yeah,
he does have the battery just to go again. No, he bails.
So yeah, that was P17 for him. Moved up 2 spots, but it's not going to be enough to do anything. Next one across the line that can do some damage here looks like to be Jordan Angus, who is up 5/10, and that would put him well clear of Josh Barnsley and actually puts him up ahead of Damien, OG, and possibly John Ranger. So this could be a P11 to P12 for Jordan Angus if he holds it together, and it's P10. So Jordan Angus is absolutely flying. Sleek is flying. Sleek's back on form, and that's what we expected to see from the Ferrari driver. Michael Scott improves his time across the line, does not improve his position. He does have half battery remaining, so he can go push here. Next across the line looks like Josh Barnsley has gotten the word in his ears that he is at huge risk here now that he's down in P17. So he's back out on an out lap. So he's got about another 20 seconds left on that. He's going to have just enough time, it looks like, to do 2 laps here if he can hold it all together and get those tires warmed and into the zone he needs them in. So right now, as it sits, we will be saying goodbye to Michael Scott, Josh Barnsley, Keisler on your screen, Beamer NG, and Joel Guron.
I was about to question Damien sitting in the pits, but as you were speaking, right as you stopped speaking, he left the pit lane, so you will have just enough time for maybe 1 lap.
Keeping an eye on Joel Guron here. Of note and of news in Zoom Racing League, Joel is one of the good guys of the league as he invalidates his lap. Was one of the people that discovered an exploit here at Monaco, which we're not going to make public here. But as a result, we were actually able to change some of the rules here in the league. And so Joel, by being honest with that and telling other people about it, actually is hurting himself right now, because even with the time he's set right now, that's a decent time, but the time he could have set using the potential exploit would have put him in the top 10. So good guy, Joel. Thanks for being who you are and letting that be what shines forth.
Oh, Joel, you should turn your battery off. You have enough time to get around. Oh no, that's damage. He broke his wing.
That end plane is gone.
No.
And that is it for Joel Guron. He will be out of Q1. No Q2 for him. Looks like Barnsley, Keisler is coming around. He's half a second slow, but he has more than enough time to do 1 more lap. He has no traffic in front of him, and so he's going to be pushing. That was not a good lap for him, but this is it. This is the testing time here. Beamer is going to pull into the pits. He's done for now. Is that Bob Loblaw out on track? I'm not really sure why. I don't know what he would achieve here by doing that. Same with Jordan Angus. Like you're both already in the top 15. I don't think there's any real danger of you getting knocked out. So let's check out Michael Scott. He's up 2/10, but again, he is so far off right now. Well, no, he's right there on the cusp. He may actually jump Damien here, and he does. He actually goes P15, and so as it stands right now, Damien, Beamer, Joel, and Beamer are done. So it's down to Damien and to Josh Barnsley, the last 2 drivers that can put in a time and make it through to Q2. So excellent last-minute push there by Michael Scott. So really good stuff. Good drive from him for the Aston Martin driver to make it through to Q2. as OG actually just jumps Michael Scott and pushes him out. No, Damien jumped up to P9.
Yeah, P9.
With a monster lap of a 1:10.3, improved by almost a full second there. Or half a second. He was I think he was a 1:10.9, so almost 6/10 he improved there, it looks like. So our final driver that can improve.
That's it. Yeah, because Mike he's way behind and he's just cutting the track now, so that's it.
So that is it. That's going to be it for Q1. We're going to be moving on to Q2. So, hey, folks, while we have this little transition period, do me a favor. Go down, like, subscribe. Link to the Discord is there. Come join the Discord. Even if you don't want to drive, you just want to hang out, you want to talk motorsports. We talk all kinds of motorsports. We have people that drive in ACC. We have people that drive in iRacing. We have people that drive in the regular Assetto Corsa. So, we do fun community events. You don't have to be in the league and drive. You can just drive for fun with us on a Friday night or a Tuesday night. Practice sessions, we can teach you how to play the game. We are a PC North American based league, but we do have drivers from all over. So, hey, go get yourself something to drink, get some tater chips, PBJ, and like, subscribe, and we will be back here in just a few minutes. Hope you enjoyed that short little break there. Taking a look, here we go. Your top 10, Travis Robinson, Razor Senna, Lee Hall, Ian Krieger, Duncan McCamick, Jack Fletcher, Jack Pemberton, Jason Pelter, Damian Doe, and Spanini. Bottom 5 out of that group, or out of the next 5, the people that will be on the bubble going into Q2, Jordan Angus, Bob Loblaw, Victor Diaz, John Ranger, and Josh Barnsley. We say goodbye to OG, Michael Scott, Beamer, Joel Guron, and Boberto, who joined late and was not able to put in a lap. So we are moving on to Q2, and we'll be back in just a moment, folks. All right, the drivers are slowly making their way out of the pit lane now. It looks like Ian Krieger, Victor Diaz, and Jack Pemberton, only ones opting for mediums right now. I wonder if the strategy for the rest of those drivers is go set in a pretty decent banker and rubber in the track a little bit more if they know that the field's going to be so tight here. They're going to have to go through on the soft tires.
I'm interested to know why they are deciding to opting to go for, they are opting to go for the medium tires here. Because like we mentioned before, if you can't make those overtakes happen, which are already really hard to do, when it comes into the race, yeah, you're gonna have a tire advantage, but you're just gonna be stuck. So it's going to be really tricky, and I honestly think it's just risky, just because you have to really trust your ability to make these overtakes in order to make this strategy work. Because if you mess up at all, like we mentioned before, you try to overtake someone around the hairpin, or you try to take them down the pit straight, there's so many things that can go wrong, and just a small amount of damage just completely ruins your race.
And so the other thing is the undercut at Monaco is actually fairly strong, right? It's not. It's even though there's only the one DRS on, it's such a slow track. You can gain that track position by getting out of the traffic and pitting early, I think. But I mean, these engineers have been through all that for 2 divisions already. And did you find that to be the case last night? I know Division 2 had a lot of didn't have a safety car, but had a lot of DNF, so it kind of changes the formula a little bit. But do you find the undercut to be powerful here or no?
Yeah, the undercut is extremely powerful here. It's really, really, really hard to maintain track position if somebody's going to pit before you, just because your tires wear, particularly the soft tires, wear so quickly that if you try to stay out and somebody behind you tries to pit for a harder set of tires, their pace is just going to be better than yours because your tires just stink. And also, the other potential thing is that you can get stuck in, or the person behind you can get stuck in traffic, or you can get stuck in traffic. It's really, really difficult to just continuously put in really, really fast laps to try to contest something like an undercut. It's the easiest lap around Monaco is always the first lap on fresh tires.
And you say that, and Razor Senna sets a similar time to what we saw in Q1, a 109.5. And we are now, at this point, only going to say goodbye to 4 more drivers because Damien Doe has actually lost it in Sector 1 before the hairpin. What is that, turn 5, I believe. Just stuck it in the barrier, and that is it for him. So we're only going to have 4 drivers competing to stay in at this point, and we'll find out who those are shortly. So Lee Hall sets a 110.1, Duncan McCamick 110.1, Travis Robinson 110.2, Jason Pelter 110.5, Spoonini 110.5, Victor Diaz on the mediums with a 110.9. Ian is still sat in the pits. He has not come out yet. I wonder what he's waiting for. Looks like Jack Fletcher will maybe be our next driver to set a time. Or no, Razor's going to go back-to-back push here. So he'll be our next one across the line. He's up 2 seconds and he invalidates, so nothing to watch there. He's followed closely behind by, it looks like, Duncan McCamick. Duncan is still on a flyer. Looks to be recharging some of the battery, though, so I can't tell how hard he's pushing right now.
Looks like he's on a hot lap. He might have to bail because he's stuck behind Razor here.
Razor should go into the pits and does. Duncan also goes in the pits.
The 10.9 for Victor on these mediums is not going to be good enough to make it through. It's probably going to be something like a 10.6, maybe a 10.7, which is going to be the cutoff point, I would expect. So
Jason Pelter goes
definitely
P2.
have to go back out.
Really quick time for him with a 1:10.10. So really good quick time there, and he's going to go. He doesn't have enough battery to keep pushing, but seems to keep pushing. He did not get out of the way to make room for Ian behind him. Ian is out on his lap. Let's take a quick look here and see what tires he actually has on. Ian did actually come out on the medium, so that's interesting to see. Waiting a little bit longer, I wonder if there's an advantage there. I mean, it's not a traffic advantage as there's a car both in front of and behind him right now that will be putting pressure on him from both ends. All right, as he comes through around the swimming pool, through that chicane in towards Rascass, Ian Kreger is going to be going on a hot lap, and we assume Jason Pilter will dive into the pits in front of him, and he does. Jason goes in the pits. So free and open track for Ian Kreger, and let's just take a ride along here. We'll go to cinematic mode here for our buddy Siggy, and we will just watch a lap around the Monaco Grand Prix. Nice, clean, quick lap there for Ian. Sort of did lose the rear end just a little bit as he left the swimming pool. And looks to be on a pretty good tear here and should be, I think, near the top 5. And he actually goes P6 on the medium tire. So a 110.481 for Ian and immediately invalidates. So he's not going to be able to push back to back. So good lap from Ian. Immediately gets pushed down to P8 though. Next across the line looks like will be Jordan Angus. No, Mr. Josh Barnsley, as he gets a little bit of a slide out of the final turn towards the main straight. He is on a tear. A 111.0 puts him in P12. That will not be good enough. He's going to have to push back to back to try to improve that lap. And there is more than enough time. 7 minutes left in Q2. Barnsley can try to improve that, but he's going to have to get real rapid, real fast if he's going to hang with the rest of these guys.
Well, he's up 4 tenths after that, after Sector 1, so that's definitely the way to start.
Jordan Angus starting a hot lap here, so we'll jump over to Ian Krieger. Well, he invalidated. He's got his battery charged all the way back up. We'll see if he stays out and goes for another lap. He does avoid the pits, and Ian's going to be going for another one back to back. We'll check in with John Ranger, our French-Canadian driver, as he finishes the lap here. He's got that Alfa Romeo in P6 right now, so well safe from the bottom here, as there's more than enough time for him to set a good lap here. This is a slow lap, so 114, not sure what happened there. Maybe he had to check up, maybe he had a little spin. So we missed that, but John Ranger going to keep on pushing here and go back to back on these laps as Jack Pemberton is P10 on those medium tires. Victor has actually changed over to the soft tires, not happy with where he was going to end up. And he should be starting his flying lap here shortly, and yeah, he does. So let's see what Victor can do on these soft tires. Check in with Jordan Angus as he comes across the line, see if he can make any kind of improvement from P14. Doesn't look to be extraordinarily rapid here. Does go P4 though, 110.1, so really nice lap from him. Didn't look like he was going to be up quite that quick as he finished that lap, but he did put it all together there in the end.
It's a really nice lap. He probably doesn't have to go back out again, I would think.
Lee Hall out there on a fresh set of softs, going to try to maintain his time there. Ian Krieger moves up to P4. We missed that. Sorry, folks. Noticing a little bit of glitching, a little bit of jumping on my screen. We'll try to change some things around here between Q2 and Q1. Lee Hall is absolutely flying right now. Just that's a purple Sector 1, it looks like. He is actually fastest of the session with that time, so it gets a little squirrely out of the hairpin down towards the chapel. And he hits the wall right before the tunnel. That's going to absolutely kill his time. Can't tell if he has any. He does indeed have some damage. Slight bit of damage to his wing, so that's going to be it for that. I don't think he's going to be able to do much from that point. Victor Diaz finishing up his lap here. He is up 4 tenths through Sector 2 and part of Sector 3 as a car comes out. Victor goes P11, so as it sits right now, we'll be saying goodbye to Victor Diaz here very shortly, unless he can put the lap of his life here together as he goes back-to-back push laps. It's going to be Ian Krieger should be coming into the pits here. He's actually going to stay out and put another. This will be now 4 laps on those medium tires. I don't know that that's a great idea unless you do that and you go P2.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's worth it for the time, but yeah, those tires are going to be 4 laps on your medium tires to start the race. That's, I mean, I guess +1 since he's going to have to do the in-lap too. So that's, I mean, nice time, but I wonder if it would have been better just to sit on the time he had before.
Riding on board with Spoonini. He's slow on this lap. He is recharging. Battery is all the way up to 100%. And so with just under 4 minutes left in qualifying right now, it looks like we will be saying goodbye to Victor Diaz, Spoonini, Jack Pemberton, and Jack Fletcher, unless they can pull off some heroics here.
And Sleek is looking really good tonight.
Victor Diaz into the pit, so that's gonna be his last chance here. He's got to get in and out really quickly. He's gonna get maybe a back-to-back push if he can get out of the pits very quickly here. Duncan McCamick should be finishing up a lap here. He does kind of make contact with the wall. seems to be on a pretty good time here. He is going to improve slightly up to P3, 4/10. Travis Robinson goes even faster at a 109.2. So I think we're going to see this. We're starting to get into that zone. We're going to see the 109 flat and below times. Could we possibly, from a Razor Center or Travis, see a 108? Jack Fletcher, by the way, has moved up to P3. We missed his lap. Sorry about that, Jack. So right now we would be saying goodbye to Josh Barnsley, Victor Diaz, Spoonini, and Jack Pemberton. Next one of those to cross the line is going to be Jack as he starts a flyer here. So we'll catch up with him in just a moment. So check in with Spoonini. Spoonini is up over 4/10 on his lap. That would put him right there where he needs to be in P9. So good lap from Spoonini. Puts it where he needs it right at the right time. Jack Fletcher.
Blah, 4/10 up on his time, also about to finish his lap.
Jump on board with the Ferrari driver here. A little squirrely coming through the last turn there, and Bob goes half a second faster, 109.8, puts him on P7. So P6, P7 for the Ferrari boys. So they've got to be very happy about that. Next one across the line will be Lee Hall. Lee was all the way up in P3, and these times started tumbling. Lee invalidated, so he is going to, even with that little bit of wing damage, go ahead and press on through. Here comes Travis Robinson and goes into the pits immediately. Jason Pelter looks to be finishing a lap here as well. He's on an out lap, so he'll be starting a fresh lap here. Duncan should be coming into pits. That's going to be it for him. Next across the line, be either John Ranger or Josh Barnsley starting a lap. And let's check in with Jack Pemberton as he comes across the line. And he goes a 110.1, still P11. So right now we will be saying goodbye to Jack Pemberton unless he can do something here on this concluding lap.
I really underestimated our drivers for this qualifying session. I think I said the cutoff time. Oh, wow.
Lee Hall just hit the wall there out of the New chicane.
Josh Barnsley just crashed out right in front of Jack Pemberton on his hot lap.
Okay, so now it's down to Jack Pemberton, John Ranger, and Victor Diaz to try to compete for that last spot. Lee Hall gets a little squirrely. He may actually be up on his time here, despite it looks like a nick of the wall and a little slippy slidey action. And Lee Hall was actually down a tenth there. It looked like he was going real fast, but not quite fast enough. Jack Pemberton across the line. Oh, I'm sorry. Victor Diaz crosses the line to start his final flyer. This is going to be it for Victor Diaz, and it looks like through that corner he was already up 4/10, so it looks like he took Sonda Vogt absolutely perfectly. Check in with Jack Pemberton first as he crosses the line here. He is slow. Does have 20 seconds, so he has 20 seconds to get across the line and start a final flyer. John Ranger into the pits, so he has called it quits. So right now it is down to Jack Pemberton and Victor Diaz. Which one of them has the minerals? Which one of them has the concentration, has the focus, has the preparation that can kick one of the other drivers out of the top 10? These were my first two picks in Division 1. Picked Victor first and Jack second, and I fully expect them to have amazing laps here. And Victor invalidates.
Oh, man. That's so frustrating.
My son, I am disappointed. So Jack Pemberton is all down to you. Jack Pemberton, who is a hockey goalie, is going to be doing the best he can to defend for a good starting position here and to be able to make it into Q3 and defend his teammate against my wrath.
That was really close.
Nearly invalidated. That was very close. So Jason Pelter will finish up another lap here. Goes in the pits instead. Looks like he invalidated. So it is all down to this. Actually, is Spinini still out there? He goes into the pits. So here it is. This is your moment, Jack Pemberton. What have you got for us? Gets a kind of a slow exit there. It didn't look very good.
Should have it unless he messed up the last exit.
And crosses the line and does go P9. So Jack Pemberton at the very last possible moment, the last person that could set a time here in Q2, absolutely crushes it, does everything we hired him to do at Mercedes and puts himself into Q3. Although he is going to have 3 laps on those soft tires when he starts, I don't think he cares. I'm sure he's over the moon right now. I know he did a bunch of extra work today, looking at telemetry, looking at setups, was not happy with the setup he had, but right now he's got to be feeling really good because he has made it through into the top 10 and into Q3 for qualifying.
Yeah, talking about that tire wear. I mean, it's probably not that big of a deal because I think most of the people in the midfield starting on the softs are just going to want to immediately try to do some big undercuts to try to get in front of some people. So they'll probably just be driving on medium tires for most of the race.
All right, so your top 10 that will advance are Travis Robinson, Razor Senna, Jack Fletcher, Duncan McCamick, Lee Hall, Ian Krieger, Jordan Angus, and his teammate Bob Loblaw, Jack Pemberton with the amazing last-second heroics, Jason Peltzer and the Haas in the P10. We're saying goodbye to Spanini, John Ranger, Josh Barnsley, Victor Diaz, and Damien. We'll be back here in about 30 seconds to start Q3. So walk around, take a breath, slow your heart down just a little bit, and we are about to get wild. All right, folks, welcome back. It is time. It is time for a showdown. It is time to see who can be quickest, who is going to dominate, who is going to be the man to stick it on pole. A kind of a surprise here to see Jason Peltzer make it through. Gator's a great driver. He's always around. Just in that Haas, you kind of don't expect him, even though we use equal cars. And his teammate for this race, who is one of our favorite drivers, he is running in, I believe, P3 in the championship in Division 3. He broadcasts for Division 2. He probably brings more fans to our YouTube than anybody else. It is the Red Bull man from Division 3. Tonight he is the Haas man. It is one Mr. OG. OG, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be in Division 1 tonight. It's a lot of fun. I'm glad to be talking to y'all.
So, Jason Peltzer, what is going on there? He was absolutely flying. I don't know. I hate to call anything like that an unexpected result, but I sure didn't see it coming.
Yeah, so we've been chatting, through messages this past hour or so, just back and forth about strategy, and I've been practicing with him as well throughout the week, so this necessarily didn't surprise me. And I kind of felt, I knew coming into this race, we're in the Haas, and what he told me beforehand, he's like, we're 1 point behind Williams, and he really, really wants that. He wants to get ahead of Williams right now, and he's just going to put it all on the line, basically. And so, and this is what we're seeing. The Haas has made it into Q3, which, I mean, if you look at the other drivers in there, you got Ian, Travis, Duncan, like super, super fast drivers, and Gator's right in the mix in the Haas. I just think it's awesome.
It's absolutely fantastic. And we were watching there at the end, everybody with sort of bated breath as Jack Pemberton and Victor were trying to displace some folks, and had Victor not invalidated and went a little bit faster, we could have potentially seen Jason out. But so Jason needs to send a little thank you note over to the Mercedes garage, and because he got to stay in, and Jack Pemberton snuck in just behind him in P10.
Yes, we'll give a little thank you to Victor right there. I'm sure he knows he can probably do it in the race. We'll let Gator have this one, but yeah, so rooting for Gator in the race and the rest of the Honda boys as well. And I'll see y'all later.
All right, OG, thanks for stopping by. Have a good race, man. All right, Duncan's going to be our first one across the line. And look, I can't believe how close he and Razor are right now. I mean, they're going to be like back to back here, as Duncan, of course, goes fastest 109.6. And Razor says, nah, homie, that ain't it. 109.4, fully 0.2 faster, and actually benefited, I would think, a little bit from the slipstream. But at Monaco, because it's such a close, tight, technical track, that's not always an advantage with the dirty air in the game.
No, I think it has more to do with the fact that Duncan bumped the wall going over the swimming pool section and broke part of his wing. so it probably slowed him down in that last hairpin.
All right, so Ian actually goes fastest with a 1:09.2. Barely is able to get out of the way of Bob Loblaw there. But Ian, really rapid, and I suspect he is going to do just single fuel runs. I don't know that he's going to want to push. I think he's going to want to go and try to find a better gap, because right now he's got a car ahead and 4 cars behind. Next across the line should be Jordan Angus, and I am wrong again. It'll actually be Razor will be the next one to have a time across the line, as it looks like Bob Loblaw is starting his first flying lap. We've got a yellow flag in the tunnel section. That's a tough spot right there, especially if you come up on slower cars. So Razor is, I think, gonna go. I think this is a slow lap, and he's gonna push again. So he went push, push, and he's got tons of open tracks. So no Duncan mechanic to hold him up this time. Razor, I think we're gonna be seeing a shootout here at the end between him and Ian.
Yeah, I think our top 4 drivers on our list right now all should have tons of tires to work with, since they were all of them were basically able to go out on just one set in the first 2 sessions.
Ooh, a little bit of an issue potentially for Jason Peltzer and Jack Fletcher as they both go back into the pits. They go out and do 1 lap and immediately back into the pits. So I wonder what happened there. Maybe they had some contact, and that was our yellow flag in the tunnel. Jack Pemberton, really slow lap there, so he is going to be on his push lap now with nobody in front, nobody behind. And we'll jump over actually and ride with Bob Loblaw as he finishes up his lap. Bob should be on a pretty good lap here. Goes 59 through the first 2 sectors. So this is actually going to be a slow lap for him. I don't know if he had a bit of a moment there, but he is well off the pace here. This is like a 1:23 lap for him. Maybe he's just taking an extra push lap to get some heat in those tires, and now he's going to try and take it home and fly as Razor goes into the pits. So track kind of empty right now. Now might be the time to go, so you don't have to worry about traffic. And as I say that, both Slink and Duncan McCamick leaving the pit lane now. So they're seeing that little bit of a gap form and want to go out there and try to set some time while there's not as much traffic.
Yeah, it's easier to find those gaps in Q3 since you have only half the grid on the track. But yeah, you definitely want to try to do your best. One thing, we were doing full 50% races all week with hosted by Duncan as practice, and he did like 4 or something like that, and every single one of them he was always complaining about having somebody in his eye line while he's trying to do his hot lap. So he started to adopt the strat of, I'm just going to immediately go out at the beginning of qualifying and set my best time so no one's in front of me. So he'll definitely want. Ooh, Bob Loblaw hit the wall.
Just hit the wall. It's unfortunate for Bob, but he is he's having a rough go of it right now. So might be time to just go in, cool those tires off, get a drink, breathe for a minute, but not Bob. Bob the Brave is going to keep on pushing on, so good for you, Bob. See, Jordan Angus will be starting a hot lap here. It'll be his first hot lap, his second appearance in a Q3 this weekend. We'll see what Sleek can put together here.
Lee Hall so far putting in a really nice lap. This might actually be a podium starting lap, so he was up 3/10 on Ian's best lap so far.
That was my mistake. I thought Lee was still on an out lap. I looked away for a few seconds here, and thought we'll pick up with him through the swimming pool. Such a tough sector here. You've got to cut all these curbs to make any kind of time, but you cut them just a little bit wrong, and that's it. You're in the wall, and you Charles Leclerc.
Ooh.
Little moment there from Lee, but great catch. Really good catch there as he goes 1:09.1. Lee Hall with a banger of a lap. The best time we've seen him set today.
That was a really good lap. I mean, I think he honestly lost maybe a 10th or 2 because he almost lost the car. So that he can probably put it, depending on what his tire situation is, he probably has time for another stint. He might be able to go into the 8 seconds here.
Jordan Angus goes P7. Check out Bob Loblaw, see if he goes in the pits. He does. He's having a rough time right now. I mean, worst case scenario, Bob is going to start P10, and that's not the worst.
It's definitely not ideal, but yeah, the higher you start, the better chances of a good finish definitely are.
Pelter's having a bit of an issue here. I don't know if he's just trying to get some extra heat in those tires, but he's going real slow and kind of weaving back and forth. Yeah, he's just prepping his tires. So here he goes. He's going to start his flyer. So just 3 minutes left. He's got time to do 3 laps back to back to back if he has the fuel for it, if he has enough battery for that third push lap. But hopefully he's thinking, I'm going to nail it in 1.
Tap the wall a little bit there, and he might run into Jack Fletcher here on his outlet. Oh, he bailed. He bailed. Yeah, he tapped the wall. No damage, but it probably messed up his exit out of the first corners.
Looks like there was a yellow flag there for Razor. Maybe he was just getting his tires prepped. So Razor starting another lap here. He desperately wants to put this thing on pole. Wants to lead from the front. Oh, he's going to have traffic almost immediately as Duncan McCamick comes out of the pits and will move over. Duncan, good guy. He's not one that'll block you in quali, but man, unfortunate timing there. If you're Razor, a little bit of a pucker moment here. He has another car in his way and just dodging and weaving right now as Razor Senna is going to try to put this thing on pole. He is faster on his time. He is up by 200ths. He's going to have to do a lot of work to claw all the way back to the 2/10 he is down to Lee Hall right now.
I wonder if this is his best set of tires. Like, I would think that he'd have more tires than he could work with. So I wonder if he should. I don't know if he'd have enough time to box if he got back. So this is it for him.
Everybody on the softs, he's got 1 lap on his. Jason Pelter, Jordan Angus with 2 and 3 laps each. Everybody else is on fresh 0 lap old softs. So this is it. It's worth it to go ahead and put those extra lap or 2 if it's going to improve your position by a lot.
2.6 tenths for Razor. He might be able to get pole here if he gets a good exit.
Here we go. We'll find out with just about 40 yards to go. 30, 20, 10. He does 109 flat. That is our second fastest time of the night. I believe we had a 109.027 in Q1. So 109.066 is going to be very hard to beat. Next across the line, Jack Pemberton says, no, thank you. I'm done. Heads into the pits. Will not improve on his time. Bob Loblaw is on an outlap about to start. Looks like Jack Fletcher. No, I'm sorry. Travis Robinson will be our next set of time. He's up 4/10.
Yeah. Let's see how he hits his exit.
Nice and smooth and clean. Good control out of the exit. About 40 yards to go. 30, 20, 10. And goes P2.
P2.
Lee Hall's on an outlap. So Jack Fletcher will be our next one to come across. 47 seconds to go. If you're on an outlap, you've got to hustle. Ooh, Jack has a little bit of a moment where it looks like the car hung, and he is into the pit. So it's going to be P8 at best for Jack Fletcher. Could potentially drop a couple more spots here. Ian is coming across the line, finishing his lap. He's way down on his time, but he does have time for 1 more push lap. 85% battery remaining, so he can absolutely fly through this next lap. Duncan McCamick coming across the line. See if he can improve from a 109.6. He does not improve. Oh, he does. 109.4 stays P5.
Blah, just equal with his time right now, so not a lot of improvement. Tap the wall again.
Razor Senna with that fuel light flashing had just enough time to start another lap, so he will be our final person that can complete a lap here, and we will check in with Travis Robinson. A little slide out of the exit there. And Travis does go faster, 109.06, so 016. We are almost down to breaking the 109s. We were 109 flat for both Travis and Razor. Checking in with Razor, he is not invalidated yet. He is up on his time, almost a full 10th. Lee Hall comes across the line. Does not improve.
He broke his wing in the swimming pool section also. He was on a really good lap.
Ian Krager has invalidated, so P4 is the best he's going to get today.
Duncan up 1/10.
Right on board with Duncan here.
Oh, he hit the wall. Man, that swimming pool section, just on the exit, everyone keeps going right into the wall.
Duncan is up on his time. Let's see if he can improve. He does. Stays P5 though. Razor Senna, can he do anything here? Can he get that one last push? And he does not. Oh, he was slow on that lap. He was actually 2 seconds slow. So that is it, folks. That is the end of Q3. That is going to set it for us. Travis Robinson sticks it on pole from Razor Senna. Really exciting. 500ths separating the two of them. OG, yeah, I see that. I think I know what the issue is when we go here to after Q3. So we're going to have Travis Robinson from Razor Center, Lee Hall, Ian Krager, Duncan McCamick, and then a trio of Canadians in Jack Pemberton, Jordan Angus, Jack Fletcher, and Bob Loblaw. Jason Pelter taking it through Q3, stays in P10 in the Haas, but job done. He gets to start at the front half of the field, and he will be happy about that. So good mix of drivers here. It looks like we have both Red Bulls and both Ferraris, and then everyone else coming from a different manufacturer. Folks, take a quick break. This is going to be really exciting, and we'll be back in just a few moments to get things started here for Division 1. Go ahead and leave a comment, like, subscribe, tell us what you're enjoying, what you're not enjoying, and tell us in the chat right now, who do you think is going to win, and why is it Mercedes? All right, folks, welcome back. Hope you had time to grab something to drink, some tater chips. We are finishing our formation lap, and it looks like we've had contact between the two Alfa Romeos. So PBJ always tells us to get a cold one. So, folks, there we go. We'll go ahead and crack that open. No tater chips because nobody wants to listen to crunchy ASMR right now. But so it looks like, if I had to guess, because they're in positions 12 and 13, the two Alfa Romeos touched at some point during the formation lap, and what that'll do is it actually disqualifies you from the formation lap, sends you back to the grid, so they will both be starting on cold soft tires, and makes the start very interesting because they're not going to have the grip that those around them are going to have. Welcome Enjoyer, who just joined the Discord. Glad to have you here. So let's see what kind of tires those guys are on. They're both going to be on cold medium tires, so that's even worse. It's bad enough to be on cold soft tires, but cold mediums is just an absolute nightmare for a driver. So, yeah, they're going to be at a big disadvantage here, especially with very quick guys like Victor Diaz, Damian Doe, and Michael Scott behind them. Joe Goron in the AlphaTauri all the way back in P19. On our pre-race show this weekend, I may have accidentally, as my UI goes away. So it's 5 green lights. The lights are going to be out, and we are going to be underway here in Monaco. Jump back here and try to see some of this mid-action battle. It looks like Lee Hall is ghosted right now. It looks like Balberto had a really rough start from the beginning. He jumped up quickly and then jumped back down. Joe Guron with a bad start down in P20. Can't tell if there's any damage to anyone yet, but for the most part, all of the cars are on track and driving. A little bit of a battle back here in the back. Let's take a look at this pack back here as it's all bunched up and things are about to get crazy here in Monaco. Already showing blue flags on screen. I'm not sure how that could be possible.
That is rather strange.
Yellow flag in Sector 2, I think because everyone was just going so slow. Roberto was disconnected momentarily. Looks like he is back together now. showing Jack Pemberton 1 lap down, so a little bit of a timing issue. We've had this issue every time we've raced here at Monaco, so we'll give it a second. There's your AWS predicted pit stop strategy. If you start on the softs, you want to go to the mediums around lap 11 or 12. The alternate strategy is to go on the hards. They can last. Both tires are good, but anything more than about 14 to 15 laps of the softs are going to start screaming at you, Big Mama Frank, right?
Absolutely. Now, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see guys like Duncan and Ian, or not Ian, excuse me, Duncan and Jack go in maybe lap 3 or lap 4 or even 5 to try to get an undercut and then just try to hold on at the end.
All right, into the pits is Damien with damage. So Damien, the big loser there on the start, already into the pits is not ideal. And here's AWS with another predicted pit stop strategy. You can go medium hard or medium soft. I don't know why you would go for a third stop here unless there's a safety car. And with Division 1, there's almost never a chance for a safety car, so I would not be banking on that strategy. As I've cycled through the drivers, I don't see anyone with a yellow light on, so I don't think anyone's under fueled here.
Yeah, one thing we learned when we were experimenting all week or in the practices with Duncan is you basically have to go +2 if you want to make it to the end of the race. Otherwise, we tried going 39 laps of fuel and we always were at least a lap under, so it was really rough. One thing that I noticed, or one thing that's big, is Travis is already jumping out to a really big lead. I wonder if Lee is kind of holding up Razor at this point.
Another predicted pit stop strategy. So AWS apparently wants us to know every possible pit stop strategy there could be. And yeah, Travis already with a 112 on full race fuel. That's a really nice lap. Second and a half up. So DRS is now enabled. So our DRS trains will be Lee Hall, Razor Senna, Ian Krieger, Duncan McCamick, Jack Pemberton, all the way back to Jack Fletcher in P8. And then our second train will begin with Bob Loblaw all the way down in P9. And that will be our 2 little DRS packs. Travis just out, and you know, this just proves, especially even in D1, as quick as everyone is here, starting on pole at Monaco is so important. And as long as Travis can keep it a clean race, it's going to be a long, boring race for him, but it's going to end with a P1 and more points for Red Bull.
Yeah, 2.1, man. Lee is just straight up bogging down the rest of the grid right now. Holy moly.
Got the view from Duncan McCamick's TV pod here. You can see how tight that little bunch is there. And just see the sparks flying off the back of Ian's car as he bottoms out through the swimming pool as everybody's taking the curves nice and slow so far. Damien is slowly starting to catch back up to the... Oh, that's actually Balberto. So, yeah, Damien is nearly a half a lap down right now, and just unfortunate circumstances for him. Travis Robinson goes even faster. I think we're just going to see that. He's just going to be clicking off laps, running. Got to be careful not to waste all of his battery, though, because that DRS train, once they get around Lee Hall, they're going to be hunting for Travis.
Looks like Bob Loblaw had a moment down the main straight. He fell all the way down to P16.
Check in with Bob.
And broke his front wing. So now he has to go full lap with a broken wing.
Bob's going to be under pressure from Joel Guron, who's 2 seconds back. We're going to see that gap closing. And already in the time that I've said that already, he's already closed up 0.3 of a second, make that 0.4. So Bob is a sitting duck right now, and Joel Guron looking to improve from his P19 start. Good news for Joel, moving up 3 spots already.
Man, I think Lee is so slow. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we see Razor or Duncan go into the pits this lap to try to get past this guy as early as possible, because this gap for Travis is getting so big.
Localized yellow flag for Bob Loblaw as he's overtaken by 2 cars. He had to take it super slow into the entry to the tunnel. Coming out of the tunnel, he's got to be careful as well. Missing his front end plane of his wing. It really messes with the aero, especially on a very heavy, high downforce track like Monaco.
Still no one going back in.
And if you're Lee Hall, why not save fuel here? It's so hard to overtake. You're in P2. Just drive. Just go out there and just drive your pace, your race. If somebody like a Razor wants to challenge you, you can try, but it might end up costing you. Bob does go into the pits for a new wing, and so it looks like Damien might actually have a chance to get that spot back. So Damien had dropped from P14, I believe, all the way down to P20, and he's going to have a chance to make up that spot now to Bob. So bad news for Bob Loblaw, who got his first win last week in Division 1. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Tom won last week. Bob was on the podium, and it's been a while since Bob had been on the podium, and he had a really good time at Suzuka, was able to make those hard tires last. just like his teammate in Division 2 did. Sid also had his first win and finished on the hard tires and made him last for most of the race. Lee hits the wall, loses his end plate, so that is good news if you are Razor Senna, because now, as he sneaks by, Ian sneaks by, he's going to jump into the pit. So Lee Hall, just bad news. He was doing just fine, doing what he needed to do, driving his own race. A little bit of a moment outside of the swimming pool, and that's his end plate gone. He is now down to P8, has dropped 8 spots and continues to fall. But that's good news for Razor and Ian and Duncan as they can push on.
Yeah, that's really big because, I mean, even now, I mean, Jack just keeps, or not Jack, Travis just keeps putting in fastest laps, and the gap still isn't really closing that quickly. I honestly think they needed to pit at least sometime in the last 2 laps if they wanted to overtake him. So I think right now Travis is he's just gone into this, he's just gone across the horizon now. He's just gone.
And if you're Ian, I think you're fine to just sit here behind Razor and let Razor burn up his tires defending against you, because Ian's going to pit way later than Razor because he's on those medium tires. So this might actually be an advantage to Ian. Damian picks up a 3-second time penalty, so no good there as he's trying to make this recovery here. Boberto into the pits, also has wing damage and drops him down to P20. So Damian's promoted yet another spot. So penalties so far for Damian and Boberto. So bad news for Williams as Ryan Zebra is out this week.
And Travis just keeps gapping Razor. Like he's now over 5.1 seconds. This is really bad for everyone behind him. He is having such an amazing race right now.
Red Bull brought out the spicy engines, and speaking of spicy, here's a nice little battle between Jordan Angus and Jack Pemberton. Jordan is closing up that gap. Jordan, the first driver we've gotten on board with, that seems to be slightly under fueled. You think Sleek would know better because we haven't seen any safety cars at all, but maybe he's thinking this is just such a fast group of folks that somebody's going to make a mistake and it's going to cause a pileup in a safety car.
So we have a battle kind of brewing between Jason Pelter and Spanini right now. Spanini looks like he definitely has the pace to get. He has significant more pace than Jason right now, but he just can't get past him.
So the good news for Jason Pelter is he has moved up 2 spots, in part because of Lee Hall's issue. I'm not sure who else he overtook and all of that. But yeah, Jason started P10. He's moved up 2 spots. I'm not sure who else he displaced there, but
It was Bob.
Bob. Okay, sorry. Yeah, Bob Loblock. Oh, yeah.
And there's Duncan. Duncan finally going into the pit, so now he's going to try to undercut Razor at this point, but I think he's just way too far behind Travis to try to undercut him. Unless Travis just goes for way too long, I would expect Travis to pit within the next 2 laps and just be able to stick on his P1.
Spanini with the DRS is keeping it really close to Jason Pelter. Closing up the gap very slowly here, but again, at a track like Monaco, you can get as close as you wish, but catching and overtaking are way different things, especially when you got walls on each side telling you it's not a good idea.
Another battle we have coming before P11. Mike is just right on Victor Diaz's gearbox. They are on the same tire strat, so we might see one of them try to go for just track position by pitting on this or the next lap. And Duncan does have a solid amount of clean air. He is a little under 5.5 seconds behind Beamer, so we can push now.
Beamer's right in the middle of this practice as well. It looks like Michael Scott had a little bit of a moment, got loose, a little wiggly, a little rear end slide, and Beamer was up to 1/10 behind him. He's dropped now to 4/10. So it's going to be interesting to see what these two do. Both of them with DRS down the main straight once they get around here, and can they make a move on Victor Diaz? Jack Pemberton into the pits, so Victor will stay out, as you can't have both Mercedes in at the same time. So they'll promote Victor up to P10, Michael Scott to P11, and Beamer to P12. And no overtaking yet. Jack Pemberton continues to lose places in the pits. He's going to come out behind Joel Guron, who continues to be on a really good push and might potentially lose this spot out to Lee Hall. He actually does come out ahead of Joel Guron. I'm sorry that missed that.
Oh no, this is a disaster for Jack. Because he came out behind OG here, he's going to catch OG really quickly, and then OG's going to hold him up until he can get past him. That's really good for Duncan, though.
our tire strats here. So Duncan opted for the medium tires, as did Jack Pemberton. Everybody else up front on a mix of medium and soft tires, so only 8 laps. And,
While we were speaking, Mike was able to get past Victor Diaz going into the Nobel chicane, so now he has the track position.
So interesting of note, didn't notice this earlier, but Lee Hall, Damian, and Roberto all on the hard tires looking to finish out the race with no more stops for them. And we'll see if that pays off. Jordan Angus, Jason Pelter, Victor Diaz all into the pits. They've had enough of those soft tires.
Victor broke his wing also after the overtake, so now he's going to have a slow pit stop. But there's Duncan with fastest lap. The only problem now is he's stuck behind Beamer. And that's really good news for both Razor and Travis.
As Travis continues to put the gap on Razor now 6.5 seconds back. And tire strategy not working out so far to Ian, but Ian, all he's got to do is be patient here. As you notice, hasn't used a lot of his ERS, still has over 80% remaining. He can just kind of coast behind Razor here and wait for Razor to pit. So I'd say within the next 2 to 3 laps, we're going to see Razor and Ian promoted to P2 and try to start hunting down Travis. We assume, as the way things sit, Ian at some point is going to inherit the lead of the race, and what can he do from there?
It's going to have to be really good on those medium tires towards the back end of the race. So here goes Travis into the pits.
Razor also into the pits, so I speak of prophecy and it comes true. And Ian Krager, much like he did last week in Suzuka, gets promoted into P1 on an alternate tire strategy. And our top 3 into the pits, and they're going to drop some spots there. So it looks like P3 is going to go to Spunini and John Ranger, the French-Canadian, up into P3. And Josh Barnsley also joins the practice, jumps up to P5, and is right behind Travis Robinson when he comes out of the pits.
And yeah, Duncan got the undercut on Razor, so now he is net P2.
And with only a 3-lap tire difference, so not enough to be significant in the early stages of the race, but come the end, what does that end up making the difference?
It might. It's still... at that point, though, where it'll be so deep in the race, it's just... It'll be like 2 old grandpas trying to fight in a deli, dude. It's going to be really rough for them.
I represent that remark.
But luckily for Jack, he was able to get by OG, and so now it's just Duncan, Razor, and Jack are going to be battling for their positions.
It's like Lee Hall, Jack Fletcher. Joel Guron has had a moment, it looks like. What happened to Joel? He just lost 2 spots to Jack Fletcher and Jason Pelter. Cannot tell for sure if he has damage or not. Maybe clip the wall. He does clip the wall there. And that is Joel Guron out of the session. He's parked at the Nouvelle Chicane. Moved to him at just the perfect time. And so sorry about that, Joel. I think I may have just cursed you. That has to bring out a safety car, right? He's parked in the middle of the chicane right near the apex. The cars are still going. Localized yellow only. The car is not cleared off the track. And for some reason, we do not have a safety car. I think the safety car is broken in Monaco.
This is the constant we had in the last 2 races. Somebody just crashing out right in the racing line, and we don't even get a VSC or anything. It's just you just expected to have to try to drive around them.
And Joel Guron is gone. His car has been cleared from the track. The marshals apparently have superpowers. Used the telekinesis, got it off the track, and in fact made it so the drivers didn't even know what was there. Roberto, we're riding on board with him right now. He just took off his helmet in frustration. He has no helmet driving around Monaco. It is just raining cats and dogs. Chickens are sleeping with pigs. I don't know what's happening anymore.
Well, as we were speaking about Joel and the cats and dogs, both Duncan and Razor were able to get by Beamer. So now Beamer sits between Razor and Jack. So it's going to be important for Jack and Duncan and Mike. Ooh, that was...
Oh, Michael Scott, 5-second time penalty. That will be massive at a track like Monaco.
That was a little bit suspect. Duncan might have gone in a little too aggressively there. But Michael is losing positions like crazy now. He got a wing damage too. This is really unfortunate for him. We might see a ticket about this.
It looked like his car was ghosted there momentarily, and he is into the pits, as is Duncan McCammon. So they both have damage, so absolute disaster for AlphaTauri. I don't mean to toot my own horn, toot, but I did call it. AlphaTauri was going to have a rough time in Division 1 this weekend, and so far that proves to be the case. I feel so bad for Joel Guron. He didn't... Oh... Duncan McCammon very angry in the chat. Jack Fletcher is now retired. Jason Pelter is retired. What is going on? I'll go ahead and throw $20 on it right now. No safety car, despite now 4 cars out.
Wow, this track is just delivering us.
And did Victor Diaz just pick up damage and all that? He did. It looks like he knocked off his end plate driving through the other wrecked cars. What in the world is happening right now?
Oh, man.
I misspoke, folks. That's 3 cars out, not 4. This is absolute insanity. So if anyone from the AlphaTauri or Red Bull garage wanted to jump up here, we'd love to hear what's going on, what your thoughts are right now. But Jason Peltzer, Jack Fletcher, Joel Guron, all out of the session as Ian has built up a 10-second lead on Spanini. John Ranger in P3 sitting pretty right now, but got a Travis Robinson hunting him down. And so Travis is the meat in the middle of an Alfa Romeo sandwich. Another yellow flag. It looks like OG has lost a spot to Lee Hall, who's running really well on those 7-lap old hard tires.
I think OG has damage. He ran into the wall at turn 1, so I think he just gave the position.
OG does have damage. You are correct. He is into the pits, as is Lee Hall, as is Jordan Angus. This has been an absolute nutty show. I don't know what's going on here. So
I think Duncan just got more damage too, so I think he's going to go right back in. Yeah, he went out lap and then right back in.
So Jordan Angus, OG, Lee Hall, and Duncan all into the pits. So Jason Peltzer, Jack Fletcher, Joel Guron, if you guys are on and want to talk right now, Jason especially, I'd love to talk to you and see what's going through your mind right now.
Oh man! Oh,
it looks like Travis
just
caught
drew Ranger through the chicane and he got a penalty.
And Ranger picks up a 3-second time penalty. Stewards will definitely be taking a look at that. This has been a nightmare for some of these guys.
Oh man!
Now the question is, I can't get over to my telemetry because I don't want to miss anything. Did Travis pick up any damage in that? Is he coming into the pits? He's staying out, so not enough damage for him to feel it yet. But we'll see how he's doing here in about a lap and a half.
He has a little bit of damage, 3 damage on his front right wing, so it might be enough for him to stay out, but it's so hard with any kind of damage on this track.
Razor Senna, who was our points leader until he had to miss last week, is just at the fastest lap, so he is looking to pick up as many points as possible after he missed the Japanese Grand Prix due to being out of town and having bad connection issues. This has been nuts, Big Mama Frank. So let's reset the order. Ian Kreger, Spunini, and John Ranger are on the alternate strategy, starting on the mediums, as is Josh Barnsley in P5. P4, Travis Robinson, P6, Razor Senna, Jack Pemberton, all started on the soft tires. Beamer NG and P8 started on the alternate strategy of the medium tires. Victor, Jordan, Angus, and Damian all started on the softs, but as you can see, are on a different tire strategy now. Everything is up in the air. This is absolutely wild, and it looks like Travis Robinson may be about to get this move done just any minute here on John Ranger.
Oh, it's so hard, but he just he knows they just had an incident right the lap before, and he wants to go for it, and he feels like he has the pace to do it, but it's so risky.
Okay.
Finally goes in the pit.
John Ranger goes in the pits after 14 laps. It's a bit early on the mediums, but I understand it. You don't want to hold Travis up anymore. Saw a couple of lockups there, maybe getting a flat spot on that right rear tire as he goes through the chicane. So I get it. And so he goes onto the hard tires. So he's going medium hards and see if he can make that work and stay somewhere near the top 10 and get good points for the Alfa Romeo bunch. So if you're Travis Robinson, now your eyes are fully and firmly ahead towards Spanini and to Ian, who have to pit again for sure. And Travis wants to build that gap as much as he can to Razor Senna and try to go and secure this win.
Man, if I'm Ian, I wonder if I'd be thinking about trying to make an early pit stop or maybe trying to finish the race on hards.
Jordan Angus goes fastest, a 1:12.1. I suspect Travis will have something to say about that. The only difference, no, Jordan doesn't have DRS right now, so I think Travis we might see take that fast lap point here because he's going to be driving with a little bit of anger after feeling like he was held up there for several laps.
And you definitely see it seems like he's having some issues turning left because looks like he's understeering just a bit.
And folks, now is a really good time for a PSA. After seeing Travis and John come together, can we please stop with the Canadian on Canadian violence? It's getting to be a little too much. Travis goes a 1:11.3. There's guys that didn't set that time in quali, and he's doing it in the middle of the race with half fuel, with slightly worn, probably warm medium tires, and that's a game changer. Razor Senna picks up a 3-second penalty for track limits. That absolutely changes all of this. So Razor has to be on an absolute tear to be within 3 seconds and actually beat Travis by 3 seconds for that penalty to not come into play for the win.
Yeah, it looks like he cut the corner at turn 1 trying to get past Josh Barnsley there. So I'm surprised he didn't get a legal overtake. So at least he doesn't have that to deal with, but he still does have the 3-second penalty.
Folks, we are not even halfway through this race. We are on lap 17 of 39. That means 23 laps to go. In the comments right now, 19 of you watching, 144 playbacks. I know there's more people watching than that. Give us your predictions right now. Who wins right now? Is it Travis? Is it the McLaren of Razor Senna? Who's P3? Can Jack Pemberton hold on to that P3 and get his best finish of the year for Mercedes? Make sure you like, subscribe, go back and watch some of our other videos and you'll see what talent we have in this division. Go back and watch our draft videos. You can understand more about these drivers. You can learn more about them. Wake Up with ZRL. The team owners get together every Saturday morning. We discuss the previous race week and the coming race week, and it'll be a good for you to get some good insight into what we're all about here in the Zoom Racing League. And I have got to ditch my hoodie because I am starting to sweat, Big Mama Frank. This has been exciting.
As he was speaking there, we had Travis Robinson just fly by Spanini down the pit straight. So now it's just up to him. Now he has just clean air now just to try to close this gap on Ian, just make it harder and harder for Ian to try to be able to make those overtakes at the end of the race when he's on his softs. This is a good example of why the medium start strategy is so difficult. It's just it gives everyone behind you such an opportunity to close that pit lane gap and just trying to finish the race. Even though you have a lot of pace at the end, making those overtakes is just so hard, and it's so difficult to do that without getting damage or getting penalties.
Speaking of penalties and damage, Roberto back into the pits. Looked like he had more damage. It says he's got the 9-lap old hards on, so not sure if that was just a glitch on the screen. We do have a yellow. We do have, is it a Beamer NG? Beamer has spun. Beamer has lost his front end. He's going to be overtaken here through the chicane. So it looks like the Nouvelle chicane, Beamer just lost it, sitting in P8, and Beamer is out of the session. Now, this has to be a safety car, right? He is parked on the racing line with his right front gone, with damage and debris, carbon fiber all over the track, and cars just continue to drive around him. We don't even have we just have localized yellows at this point. Not a full course yellow, not as a virtual safety car. I think the safety car here in Monaco is broken as Beamer goes out on lap 18 from P8. Josh Barnsley has jumped into the pits, and Beamer is cleared from the track. No VSC, no safety car, 4 cars out. Duncan McCamick picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that is bad news for him, as he is still stuck down in P15, P14 now after he inherits that position. And Duncan just having a miserable first half of the race. So what can he do here in the second half as he slowly starts to catch up to OG on fresher and better tires?
Man, I think these marshals here and the race director here at Monaco, they probably need to be fired.
So was that a bit of a team order there, or was that OG being smart? He absolutely just slows down and lets Duncan pass, and that was a move poor position. OG is a Red Bull driver. Duncan McCamick is technically his team boss, even though he's driving the Haas. I think that is OG being polite and knowing as a Division 3 driver he's not quite as quick. He is on a disadvantaged tire and was being smart, but you've got to question that. Speaking of conspiracies in the chat, Dom Inman, let's see where the loyalties are this week. Does Spunini play for Alpine, or does he backstab them by letting the Honda teammate through? And we actually did see that happen. Spunini did let Travis through to some extent.
I think it was just a pretty solid overtake. He had a really good exit, just ran by him.
Look, we're not here to be reasonable. We're here to entertain the masses. It was a conspiracy, sir.
Where my pitchfork at?
So,
P9, we have Josh Barnsley on his fresh sauce behind Sleek. He has significant pace advantage right now.
So Stars FBS from CRL is here, and he says this is why you don't use reduced safety car anymore. Reduced is broken, and asks if braking assist is allowed in Division 1. No, actually, Stars, beginning this week, we no longer allow braking or steering assist. We'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. Now, we did find that at some tracks there was an advantage to using both of those assists, and while we did start as an all assists allowed league, we have outlawed those, and in Division 1 we have also outlawed pit assist. It has been outlawed for a long time because it was broken, because you could literally just drive in 8th gear, full throttle, and the game would just catch you. And so there was no even attempt to try to slow down. So pit assist has been outlawed by word in all divisions, but by law in Division 1. Yeah, Joel Garon in the track saying reduced has been broken for a long time now, LOL. So we may have to revisit our safety car issues. One of the main reasons we went to the reduced safety car, it looks like actually we may have Josh Barnsley on the attack here against Jordan Angus. just take this moment while it's kind of processional right now. Probably won't see any action for a good little bit, but we originally outlawed, or we changed to reduced safety cars, particularly for Division 3 and then Division 2, because we were literally seeing 5 or 6 safety cars a race, and the race just drags on and on and on, kind of like Roberto with the penalties, and his race dragging on. He picks up another 3-second penalty. And so we wanted to keep the drivers racing more, keep everything moving in terms of the race itself. So we set the safety cars to reduce, but it's starting to look like we're going to have to revisit that in order for the correct penalties, if you will, be applied when drivers do DNF. Beamer NG has left the session. He had already DNF, so go get some rest, Beamer. Thanks for coming out tonight.
I remember the one D1 race I did last season, the Singapore race. And I remember, the only thing I remember about that race was the absolutely abomination of the weather. And
Yes.
we were buying a safety car the entire thing. Oh, sleek hit Victor. No damage though. They bumped each other going into the final turn.
Josh Barnsley still not able to close that gap up, even though he Sleek did everything he could to punt Victor there.
I mean, you just have to keep. You want to overtake, but with Victor there also, it makes it even harder, just because you have to keep track of him also. Because if you try to go too aggressive, next thing you know, you're just flying into the side of Victor.
All right, Razor here behind Spanini. Spanini doing a good job blocking for his Alpine teammates. And he's going to go ahead and stay out. Razor's going to have the DRS. And those tires have got to be screaming just a little bit for Spanini. 21 laps isn't huge, but you're getting right near the end of the life, especially depending on how hard you've been pushing and how hard you've been defending through the lap.
I'm really curious about what Ian's plan is here, because by the time he finally pits, he's going to have at least 5 or 6 cars to overtake if he wants to try to win the race. And that's way too much to ask for this track.
They're absolutely bumper to bumper to bumper for position 7, 8, and 9. Victor, Jordan, and Josh Barnsley. Jordan and Josh Barnsley, Keisler on screen, both Division 2 drivers that were formerly in Division 1. So they absolutely belong here on terms of just raw pace. Just our sorting table system moves people up and down based on their results to try to give us overall a more competitive feel and give people a better balance of racing. So not surprising to see them keeping pace with Victor. I will say, though, between the three, Victor probably spending more time in other sims. Victor has recently really gotten into ACC, raced in a sister league on Tuesday nights in the McLaren, and so that has been taking up some of his time. It's like OG is into the pits to get off of the hard tires. I wonder if he had wing damage there. I cannot see the telemetry right now. Racer Senna still not able to get the job done on Spanini, so Spanini making that Alpine extra wide, and right as I say that, here goes Senna down the inside. He carefully backs out, almost had the chance for an overtake there. He's got the better grip, better exit here as we come down towards the hairpin into the casino section. Oh, really tight there, and Razor is going to actually get that move done, gets around Spanini. And so if you're Spanini, I think you go ahead at the end of this lap, you've done your job, you've done your defense, you've helped your team as much as you can. Now it's time to get off those medium tires and either go onto a set of hards or a set of softs to try to finish the race.
Absolutely. He's just going to lose more and more time the longer he stays out.
And that gap is already over a second for Razor Senna, so Razor's got to be absolutely furious right now because now he is a full 8 seconds behind Travis Robinson. We do have a yellow flag. It's like for Bob Loblaw, potentially. Yeah, Bob had a moment at the Nouvelle Chicane as he takes the spot. Well, no, that was Boberto.
It was Boberto, yeah. Bob was clean. Boberto looked like he spun going into the Nouvelle Chicane.
Boberto's had an absolutely miserable race, really forgettable. It's his first time subbing for Division 1. He was, I believe he was in Division 2 with you guys last night. Or, no, he was in Division 3 for AlphaTauri. He's a Red Bull Academy driver. And so the Williams apparently just doesn't suit his style and just having a bad time of it.
A lot of work for Razor to make up here to try to catch Travis, but based on the pace we've seen so far, I just don't think he's going to be able to.
So Spanini opted to stay out and not come in and get off those old mediums. I wonder if he has a lap number that he and Ian are talking about and looking towards. And in the course of that happening, Jack Pemberton has now closed that gap to less than 4/10. Jack has half his battery remaining and will have DRS on the next straight, or on the start-finish straight.
In terms of teamwork here, the longer Spanini stays out actually could really help Ian. If he can build a gap for Ian to come out after he pits, that'd be really, really good for them.
See what Spanini does here. He's going to go ahead and stay out. I think he's I think he's going to try to stretch this out to lap 29. I think he doesn't want to put more than about 10 or 11 laps on those soft tires, so he gets every ounce of good out of them so that he can push, and he doesn't have to worry about tire saving at all. Meanwhile, quietly, John Ranger has maintained P6 with only 9 laps on those hard tires. So it's looking like a really good result potentially for John Ranger here. He's about 20 seconds back, which is close to the pit stop gap. So this is a potential podium for him, because right now he only has Travis, Razor, and Jack Pemberton ahead of him. And if
no, Sleek went around. It looks like there was a moment between him and Victor potentially, and he went around going into the final corner.
Take a look here. The front of Jordan Angus did not lose his wing there, so luckily able to keep it out of the wall. We had a driver in Division 3 had a lot of issues for Ferrari, a lot of spins and a lot of resets to track, and then just called it a night and left the game. So wondering if maybe there's a setup issue. Ian finally does go into the pits. 25 laps on the mediums. That's going to leave him 14 laps that he's going to have to make on these soft tires that he does put on, which of course he's going to. Ian will be looking here to pick up the fastest lap point, which I need to check the timing here and see who has that. Oops, sorry.
Travis, I believe, has it.
Fastest lap is to Travis Robinson with a 1:11.3. We know Ian can go faster than that. We also know that he is very rapid, and he's going to have low fuel and fresh softs to try to get that done. We'll take a look now at the penalties. 3 seconds for Razor Senna, which could come into effect if Jack Pemberton can catch him. 3 seconds for John Ranger, 3 seconds for Lee Hall, 6 seconds for Duncan McCamick, 3 for Damien, and 9 seconds for Roberto in P16.
This is so much work for Ian, though. 8-second gap between him and Jack, and then another 4-second gap between him and Razor, and he still has to get by both of those cars if he wants to make up these grounds. So a lot of work for him to do in the last 12 laps.
So Ian just laps Bob Loblaw. So Bob Loblaw, a full lap down from everyone, down in P14, and that just shows you how rapid our top 5 are right now. So Spanini also came into the pit. Sorry, I missed that. They had just enough of a gap that they didn't have to worry about double stacking. So both of the Alpines sitting right now in P4 and P5, and if they can hold on to that, if there's any incidents ahead of them between Travis, Razor, and Jack, potentially Alpine with 2 on the podium.
But Spanini right now is showing just how good things can go for you if you just stay out of trouble and don't get any damage. I think everyone behind him is pit because of damage, and he's been able to really make use of that alternate strat so far.
Just say that he's at a tire disadvantage, but Victor Diaz, even though Josh is fully on his battery, he's fully on the DRS, Victor Diaz, I guess it's just down to his setup. He's running a lower downforce setup because Josh is just barely able to keep in that DRS and doesn't really close the gap, except maybe like 0.2 of a second on the main straight. He's at a complete disadvantage here, and he's got about 4 laps of good left in those tires to make this pass.
Yeah, it's a really rough spot for Josh. It can be really frustrating on this track.
That right now is really our only close battle on track. Everyone else has sort of spread themselves out and kind of running their own pace and trying to see what they can do to make up the gap to those ahead.
I mean, Ian has already closed over almost 5 seconds on Jack so far, so he is flying, and he will catch Jack at some point with the next couple of laps.
And there's Ian already setting the fastest lap of the 1:10.5. Like we said earlier, several guys did not set that at all in qualifying. He's doing that on race fuel. Now, granted, he's going to be low fuel, and those are fresh softs, but that's an absolutely rapid time, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Ian improve that even more as he tries to close that gap. Now down to 2 seconds to Jack Pemberton. So Ian is on an absolute tear right now as we have a local yellow in Sector 2. Is that for Spanini? No. Is that oh, that is Roberto out of the session. Again, why would it cause a safety car? at the exit of the Nouvelle Chicane. This game is so broken. So, into the night for Roberto. Thanks for coming out. Sorry you had a rough go in your first time in Division 1, but Lee Hall into the pits. Does he... I wonder if he's
no.
just... Ian picks up a penalty, so Jack Pemberton, word to the wise, don't fight Ian too hard here, but if he gets around you, stay within 3 seconds and you'll get that spot right back.
Well, at the current pace, if Ian gets by him in the next lap or two, he's going to fly past him. It's going to be really hard to keep that 3-second gap.
Ian does not have the DRS this time by, though. He was just outside of that 1 second gap. Fully on the ERS, he's going to have a car exiting the pits just ahead of him, and I wonder how that affects these two as they come through. Jack is going to be bearing down on Lee Hall, who puts on a fresh set of mediums. He's getting blue flag, doesn't want to be lapped here by Jack Pemberton, and wants to try to set a fast lap. I'm really surprised, and I wonder if maybe he just didn't have another set of softs to put on.
Yeah, it's possible. When you're fighting for a qualifying position, it's really easy to use all of your soft tires.
Josh Barnsley into the pits with a 10-lapped old soft, so he's going medium soft here. So I wonder if Josh is going to try to push Ian for that fastest lap point, try to bring that home to the Alfa Romeo as he sits in P10, loses that spot immediately to Duncan McCamick, who's all the way up to P10 on the 21-lap old mediums, but also has 6 seconds in penalties.
Now we're starting to see some banging between Ian and Jack. Ian bumped into Jack on the exit of the Nouvelle Chicane.
And part of the reason that Josh Barnsley took that spot from Duncan McCamick is he had a moment coming out of the pits, may have stuffed it in the barrier. Doesn't appear to have damage, but there was a localized yellow for him as he was stopped on track momentarily. May have had a spin, too much wheel spin, too much throttle coming out of the pits, and lost it for a moment. But
as we speak, Ian's going for the move on Jack. Oh, Jack had to let him go.
Sorry that we missed that, folks, but Ian moving up. He is now in the podium positions, does have that 3-second penalty. So if you're Jack Pemberton, you got to do everything you can to stay close to him. And don't think Ian is going to be having any of that because that gap is already at 1 second and it extends beyond 1 second. Jack Pemberton is actually going to be hung out to dry because he's not going to have any chance here to catch Ian.
Yeah, Ian's pace is just insane right now. It's going to be really hard for Jack to stay with him. But Ian only has 3 seconds to go to catch Razor, so I mean at his current pace, he's going to catch him.
Razor and Ian both even on penalties, so that will not come into play. So right now that is the battle for second and third, and Ian is looking at Razor and thinking, "Yeah, I got this, homie. You can do what you want to do, but I'm gonna get you." Getting word from Beamer MG in the track. Worst performance in ZRL so far, but it was fun while it lasted. LOL. I'm just glad I didn't hurt anyone by DNFing. Stars from CRL telling us that changing from reduced to standard safety car feels like the old reduced. So maybe something we have to revisit. So if any of you want to open a ticket with a suggestion to do so, we can definitely do that. Josh Barnsley did have a moment. He was back in the pits, puts on another set of softs, must have damaged his wing.
Sweet. 2 battles kind of going right now. We have Sleek still behind Victor trying to get past him, but they're on pretty equal tires. Victor's tires are a little bit older, and then Ian is just flying up to Razor. Holy moly, he's closing that gap so quickly.
Ian is definitely going to have DRS this time around, assuming he doesn't make a mistake. So we'll kind of watch these 2 battles. Meanwhile, Travis Robinson, a full 12-second gap from P1 to P2, so he can just kind of cruise at this point.
Oh, I think Razor is so doomed here.
Ian is definitely lining him up. Roberto has left the session. He's been out for a while.
That's a really good exit, though, for Razor. I think he still has turn 1.
Battery difference 30% for Razor. Nothing left for Ian. He's down to 6%. He will actually run out of battery before the end of the lap if he's not careful and doesn't recharge a little bit. So maybe just take this lap and the next to recharge and then put on a really good 3-lap push to try to take that spot. You're going to have the pace advantage. You definitely have the tire advantage. So build that battery back up, young man, and then make your attack towards the closing stages.
It's just so hard. Like you mentioned before, talking about the kind of the window before his tires start to fall off.
Oh, no, we have a moment. Jordan Angus into the side of Victor Diaz. No good there. Victor has lost that spot. And Victor has gone around. He was into the barrier. I can't tell if he has damage yet. He will be taking
no front wing at all.
No front wing at all. So he is going to lose that all the way from down to P7. Little moment where the two of them came together. He just pulls over and he's going to let Victor Diaz, or he's going to let Michael Scott and Duncan McCamick through. He's not going to hold them up. Absolutely heartbreaking and disappointing for Victor Diaz. We know it wasn't on purpose, but when you're trying to overtake at Sondavote, Jeff always tells us no heroics. Sleek with the big minerals, it sends it in there. There's a little bit of contact, and Victor definitely came out the worst on that end.
Man, Ian is so close to Razor. Now they're both basically zero battery.
Sector 2 yellow for Victor Diaz, who is going slow through the tunnel. These two quickly catching. Oh, there's a little bit of contact there. Ian smacks into the back of Razor. It's not bad, but Razor does slide just a little bit. How much of that was tires and how much of that was the contact is impossible to say, but advantage to Ian there if he didn't damage his wing.
No damage for Ian yet, so that was lucky for him.
Ian laid on the brakes, catching up to Razor very rapidly here.
Oh yeah, still his battery situation still makes it really hard. But Razor isn't just a similar place battery-wise also, so this might be his opportunity.
Victor into the pits. That's going to drop him down to at least P11. He's putting on some fresh stops to try to finish strong here. Bob's a full 30 seconds back, so Victor, I guess the best he can hope for right now is P12. As he exits the pits, he will come out ahead. Ian's still not able to get the move done yet. Duncan McCamick closing up to the back of Michael Scott for P8. Michael's had a really good recovery. He's had a rough couple of races. Is Victor okay, Victor does make it out of the pits ahead of Bob, so he will retain P12 for the time being and start trying to chase down his Mercedes-powered compatriot of Lee Hall.
And it looks like back in P9, Duncan has some minor front wing damage, also trying to battle Mike. But he may be able to finish the race on that. Because as far as I remember, Travis has the same kind of damage, and he's well out in front.
And in fact, he's increased that gap by yet another 2 seconds, in part because Razor has to watch every corner to see when Ian's going to make that lunge, when Ian's going to make that move. And Ian's been very smart just to keep it, even and close and let Razor wear his tires out defending. As Bob Loblaw goes around, it looks like in P15, he drops a couple spots there. OG and Josh Barnsley get through. Duncan McCamick does get the move done around Michael Scott, but can Ian do anything with the DRS here? Lee Hall picks up a 3-second time penalty, so that'll be helpful to Victor. That's 6 seconds now for Lee Hall. Ian
I believe so.
Just glued to the gearbox and wing of Razor here. Razor is at the end of the useful life of those medium tires, but making them work. All he's got to do is just not leave the door open, and there's nowhere for Ian to go.
Man, we keep seeing Razor losing his back end, so I'm worried that all this defensive driving he's having to do is going to cost him big if he pushes just a little bit too hard.
I think Duncan's put a little bit of a gap on Michael Scott. Bob Loblaw and Josh Barnsley both into the pits for damage. I wonder if the two of them had contact there. And Ian is just so close. I mean, we're talking inches. You couldn't fit a cigarette paper in between them at some of these exits.
I'm going to point out that both of them only have 3 warnings, so they're both sitting at 3-second penalties. So neither of them are in. Whew. Razor have another snap of oversteer there.
Oh, there's the move right there. Ian, in the inside, but just a little bit better exit for Razor there and defends beautifully. But Ian
might have him here.
Ian is hungry, and he's going to go around the outside into Santavote. And they're side to side, gonna be a little bit of contact, a little bit of a wheel touch, but Ian is through and ready to run away. And so that is P2 inherited for Ian Krieger in the final 3 laps of the race. So Travis Robinson 15 seconds ahead. Ian and Razor still battling, only a half a second between them, but expect Ian to grit that up to about a 1.5 second gap by the end of this race, provided he doesn't make any mistakes.
I was questioning Ian's strategy all night, but he's really made this work. It does help that so many people that qualified around him have had issues, but he's really made this strategy work for him tonight.
Well, we hadn't gotten a good look at the Red Bull here in a while, so we'll take a look at Travis Robinson, who, like we said, is almost 16 seconds ahead of Ian Krieger. The two of them really good buddies off track and play games in other simulators as well. And Travis is just running his race. He's got about a 40% battery, hasn't really needed to push at all, and probably a boring race from Travis's perspective, but the Canadian's got to be ready to go home and celebrate with 3 laps remaining. Ian's already built 2 seconds gap on Razor, so the two of them just have to do their very best to just finish clean. There's no reason to push here. Jack Pemberton's 4 seconds behind Razor. Spanini's another 8 seconds. Spanini actually goes into the pits on those 10-lap-old softs. He's got a bit of a gap to John Ranger and Jordan Angus, but may come out in between them, depending on how quick the pit stop goes. They are changing the front wing, so he is going to drop at least to John Ranger and possibly to Jordan Angus here.
Oh, that's really unfortunate. He was set for a really good position.
Yeah, as he comes out, John Ranger inherits that. So John making those hard tires work. 22 laps he's been on them, so French Canadian's got to be happy without his teammate John Pilon here. And there goes Sleek around the outside. Nothing Spanini can do about it, and the two of them are going to have an absolute drag race. And is this going to be our Lance Stroll moment? Do I run away until we see the end of this? No, I will not. I am not the FIA, and I'm not the cats that run Monaco, but Spanini actually gets a really great exit there and is able to keep that spot from Jordan Angus, and part of that's going to be the traction of those fresh, warm, soft tires, fresh out of the blanket.
Yeah, it's really good. If he got stuck behind Sleek, he may not have been able to get past him. But that's not too bad, even though, I mean, in terms of broken wings, that's probably the least tragic one we've seen tonight, because he only lost 2 positions, or he lost, what, 1 position, actually.
Lee Hall chasing down Damien here. Damien is ghosted. I'm not sure what's going on there if we're having intermittent connection issues, but he ghosts and unghosts, and that may just be on my end, but Lee Hall on the much 7-lap fresher tires here might have a chance to have a go at Damien. Actually slides into the wall. Hopefully not much damage there, but you can see how much braver he is on the brakes, just closing that gap up as Damien is struggling right now. Lee Hall looking to get this move done as quickly as possible. Doesn't need to overcook the tires, and end up causing himself more damage, but really good recovery. I think he was down in P20 at one point and almost loses it out of the swimming pool. So coming around, Raskas still right on the back of Damien. He's going to have ERS. He's going to have DRS, but is it enough to get anything done here? It's not going to be quite enough, but Damien at a huge battery disadvantage. And Travis Robinson, actually finishes the race. That is the end of the race for Travis Robinson. Ian Krieger is now going to cross the line in P2. Razor Senna will finish P3, about 5 seconds back. There's Jack Pemberton in P4. P5 is going to go to John Ranger. Spanini trying to set the fastest lap here in just a moment as John Ranger finishes up to P3. So Damian, Lee, and Victor are done. Damian in P10, Lee in P11, Victor in P12. We'll see what John Ranger can do here as he finishes up nice and clean and ends up with 23 laps on those hard tires. Sorry, folks, that we missed the end of that, but congratulations to Travis Robinson to P1. John Ranger goes across. Spanini, can he get the fastest lap point? Does not, but does promote to P5 on penalties. Jordan Angus will finish inside the top 10. P7 for Jordan Angus. Duncan McCamick limps it on home into P8, the only AlphaTauri finisher tonight. Michael Scott for Aston Martin finishes inside the top 10, so that is a P9 for him. Immediately runs into the back of the Ferrari of Sleek, it looked like, and wonder what happened there.
I think because he was the last one to cross the line, the AI just drove into the back of him. Everyone else was a lap down, so...
Very strange. So, driver of the day to Michael Scott. Duncan McCamick in the chat, unhappy with Michael Scott, so it looks like there's going to be some words. Really awkward there. So Travis Robinson from Canada once again on the top step of the podium. Ian Krieger, the young American driver, in P2, and Razor Senna, our resident Brazilian, with the Brazilian podiums already up into P3. So no really unexpected results there, but man, what a drive from Ian.
That was a really good drive. Particularly the battle between him and Racer was really fun to watch. I mean, he actually broke his wing on that last lap there, but luckily he had enough gap to just to just be able to drive slowly and safely back to the finish line.
Duncan McCamick with 3 pit stops. Everyone else on 1 or 2 stops. Panini had 2 stops. Jordan Angus with 2. Lee Hall finished in P11 on a 4-stop strategy. There's just a lot of extra stops. So king of the stops goes to Boberto and Josh Barnsley, each with 4 pit stops. So very interesting. It looks like we have 2 of our 3 folks here. We'll move over to our interview backdrop. Waiting on the Razor Senna, so we will grab him first. And it feels like one of almost a Brazilian podiums for our favorite Brazilian driver. Razor, you and Ian had a really good battle there for a long time. You were at the tire disadvantage, but man, you were fighting for your life there towards the end, weren't you?
Yeah, it was a lot tough. Just exhausted. Yeah, yeah, I tried to defend as much as possible from Ian, but yeah, he did a nice move. And yeah, just a tough race, tough track.
Well, we know you're one of our resident street circuit specialists, so a podium was definitely. I think most of us are not surprised at that. That was kind of in the plans, but no, you wanted to go for the win. But Travis, what do you know what Travis did differently? Is Red Bull cheating? Is that what happened? Because he was just gone.
Yeah, I think he has cheats on his brain. That's
Okay.
it.
Well, there we go. So, congratulations on the P3. You know, we had last week, you were gone and Tom got on the podium. This week, Tom's gone and you're on the podium again. McLaren's still up near the top. Unfortunately, your teammate for this week, Beamer, DNS, so there's some lost points there, but still up near the top of the constructors as well. What's more important to you right now? And I think I know the answer, but are you more thinking about the constructors and winning for the team, or are you trying to win this whole thing as Razor Senna P1 at the end of the season?
Well, the main goal is to have fun, I would say. I really don't mind. I don't care if I do good in the constructors or in the drivers. I just want to have fun, and as long as I am having fun, that's all that matters.
Well, I can tell you, everyone in the chat and both of us broadcasting are having fun watching you. So hope to see you continue to have fun and keep turning out these good podiums, man.
Yeah, thanks, Juros.
All right, Razor, we'll talk to you later. And now probably the worst part of my week, because as much as I like talking to people, Ian's just so loud and happy when he gets on the podium, and he has a great overtake, and I think you had fastest lap as well. So he's just going to be insufferable at this point, right, Ian? You're just going to be the worst to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, P2, man. Congratulations. Really good drive, really good scrap from you and Razor there at the end. You went on the alternate strategy, starting on the mediums. Did you know that was going to work, or was it a bit of a gamble from your perspective?
I just took a gamble. I mean, I don't know if it really was going to pay off at the start, but since I made it to Q3 on the mediums, I was like, hey, why not do it?
So yeah, we saw same strategy, no split of strategy there between you and Spanini. I think Spanini ended up finishing around P7 or so. So good points for Alpine this week. You guys are trying to claw your way back up towards the top of the standings, and a couple of good podiums here from you recently. So you got to be happy right now, and Adam Klein's got to be super happy as well.
Yeah, he should be.
So was this a track that you had any trouble with, or did you feel like you had it pretty well locked in? I know this is one of the few tracks where you use ABS. And so is that just the nature of this track and how difficult it is to negotiate some of these corners?
Yeah, like most of the time I don't use ABS, but there's fairly no tracks that I use ABS, and this is one of the tracks that I do it.
Well, it seemed to pay off. You had the tire strategy just right. You were quick all night. You were quick in qualifying, and overall just a pretty good night of racing from you. So thanks, and congratulations on P2, Ian.
Thank you.
Now, Big Mama Frank, there are some guys in this league that is an absolute delight to talk to. And Razor's one of them. Ian's not. So at least we get to close out the night with one of my favorite guys that I ever get to talk to. One of the guys that I wish we had over in the Mercedes garage. And I don't mean to fluff him or pump him up too much, but he's one of my favorite Canadians as well. And the man on the top step of the podium by a wide margin, over 16 seconds, Mr. Travis Robinson. Congratulations, sir.
Wow. Thank you for the intro. I absolutely humbled, but yeah, no, thank you. That was a fun little race for a while. Ended up being kind of boring out down the home stretch. I was saying on the mic that I was getting play-by-play from Jack Fletcher on the Razor and Ian battle, and it sounded like they were having a good time. And,
Oh, it was a delight to watch. We missed you crossing the finish line because that battle
don't
was so
sweat
good.
it.
We were waiting to see. But you're 16 seconds clear at one point early in the race. You were 12 seconds clear. Did you put in a lot of extra work here, or is this just a track where you just came out and you dominated?
I didn't put too much work into this. I signed on today about an hour and a half before the race and did some laps. Yeah.
Hate you so much.
But to be fair, I have a lot of experience around Monaco. I've been playing F1 games for quite a few years, and I've always had a lot of success. Probably the majority of my victories that I have in my time of league racing have come through Monaco. It's a track that you can kind of just be an absolute robot and just repeat the same laps over and over again. And so long as you get into a groove, you generally run a pretty clean race.
Well, speaking of being a robot and things being kind of dry and boring, you know where we're going next week, right?
I actually don't. Surprise me. Where are we going?
Surprise! Paul Ricard, one of the least favorite driver tracks in the league. We haven't raced there in this league yet. I know you and I have done some ACC there at Paul Ricard, so it's not like it's a circuit you don't know, but it can be kind of monotonous, a lot of blue and red lines. So is that a track where you usually find yourself doing pretty well, or is that a little bit different?
I actually, the last league race I ever did there, I put myself on pole, which was nice, but I DNF'd the first lap. I remember being pretty devastated about that because I was super excited about the pole position. It was probably one of my first in that Division One other league that I was driving in at the time, and yeah, I just got throttle happy and binned it straight into a wall on the very first lap. So hopefully that's not a repeat. Because I would actually like to complete a league race around there. If it's boring, I'll take it. I'd rather just not DNF.
Well, as a broadcaster and a Travis stan, I don't want to see that happen, but the Mercedes in me comes out and says, do that again so this time we can see it.
I'll try not to, but yeah, pressure's on.
All right, congratulations on yet another win and huge points for the Red Bull squad. Sorry that your teammate Jack Fletcher didn't make it through, but it's keeping things very interesting in the constructors, and so gonna have to start stringing Jack along and letting him in on your hour before session secrets.
Yeah, I know. I feel so bad for him, but you know, a victory is a victory, and he'll come back stronger next week. I'm sure of it. So yeah, too bad, but at least we got some points in there for the constructors.
All right, Travis. Well done. Congratulations on P1, and we will see you next week at Paul Ricard.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Take it easy.
Well, Big Mama Frank, that concludes our weekend here in Monaco. We've had 4 races. We had the Academy, we had D3, we had D2, we had D1. 4 rounds of 39 laps and no safety cars. Do you think we're going to have to change that as a league?
Probably. I mean, I'm always I get bored of safety cars. I prefer just to have the race go on, but that's just because I don't know. This is my preference thing. But I'm just glad this weekend's over and we don't have to drive in Monaco anymore.
Yeah, for sure. I know there's a lot of drivers that never wanted to be here and definitely didn't want to do full qualifying here. But, you know, it turned out okay, depending on who you're rooting for. 3 of our really rapid drivers up front. We got a couple of drivers had unexpected results. And that's all part of racing here, especially in the highest tier here in Zoom Racing League. So we're just over the 2-hour mark, and we want to thank you all for staying tuned in for this long. If you haven't had a chance yet, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, come join our Discord. Like I said earlier, even if you don't race, if you're not really interested in the F1 games, we have other stuff we do as well, and we're just a fun group to hang out with. At least Big Mama Frank is. I'm more of a yeller. I put on a brave, nice face for these streams, but we appreciate all of you tuning in, spending time with us. We'll see you live Friday night over on Dom Inman's Twitch for the Academy race, and then we will see you bright-eyed and bushy-tailed Saturday morning to review this week and to preview next week with Wake Up with ZRL. So, Big Mama Frank, any closing thoughts before we say goodbye?
No, I hate you, Monaco.
Well, there you have it. Big Mama Frank and Monaco are officially breaking up, so Monaco is back on the scene and available if you so wish to date her. Thank you all for tuning in tonight, and we will see you soon again here at the Zoom Racing League.